to everybody joining me live. To those that be joining me on Archive D-Style Boxing here. This is yet again another edition of what? Of the show Aftermath. All right. Of course, Devin Haney, Undisputed 135. We're going to talk about that. But first, we're going to start with actually something we're not used to on Monday, at least on this show. But because of fights in Japan, and I want to preview that as soon as possible. Some are going to watch this on archive, and the fight already happened, right? So you could always forward to where, or whatever. But let's talk about the fight first. Look, Inoue, the monster. He's going to be facing Nonito Donaire. Okay, we're talking about Flash. Okay, the Filipino Flash versus the monster. Ladies and gentlemen, I think the first fight was a very exciting fight. Orbital bone of Inoue injured. Inoue hurts him to the body, drops him, right? Wins the fight. Now Donaire saying, hey, last time I was trying to put on a show. This time I'm coming to win. All right, I'm going to strategically try to win. Manny, how to see this rematch playing tomorrow morning for us?
Woo! Oye, en vivo. Wow. Hey, listen, last time I got up early in the morning is Murata and GGG. That was great because it was a weekend, but I have to work very, very early tomorrow. And a matter of fact, I really don't go to bed early right after the podcast. I am going to sleep because I really want to get up and watch this fight. Listen, not a lot of people do have this fight going in right now as, no hype, no nothing, and I just don't understand to the point that even still till today, people don't have the monster in a way. It's at least top, maybe 7 or 10 pound for pound. I just don't understand. Nonito Donaire, another great fighter, warrior, man, that's given us a lot. People thought that he was going to be done in a couple of fights ago, and look how he actually came back, rejuvenated, revived his career, captured the world title, and now he's about to go do it again against the monster. He's saying it's a little bit different, but there's a huge factor here right now that is extremely important. Number one is a talent and age, and I think Inoue it's gotten better since last time. Nonito had improved. Don't get me wrong, but I think the monster's just in a different level. And I'm willing to see that. I want to risk it all. I'm a huge fan of Donaire. I've seen his trajectory. He's done amazing things to his country and the Filipino community. And but the Japanese are not staying right behind. I think Inoue will be a future champ, not only at that division, undisputed, sometime eventually in the future, but also he'll probably move up a couple more divisions up, and he's gonna continue to build his legacy, and I'm excited about this. Sadly enough, it's not on the weekend. And of course, it's the monster. It's got to be in Japan. So we got to adapt, right? Be palm trees and flexible and adapt to these schedules. And guess what? Let's just make something out of nothing because we didn't have anything. Now we do. We have a fight. And it's Tuesday morning. Wake up early. Get your coffee and Baileys. I will.
Hey, Bruce Goes, you remember Tuesday night fights, brother? But this is going to be Tuesday morning morning fights. Are you excited for this fight? Are you going to get up for this fight? That's what I want to know.
I got my day planned. I have a delivery coming at the house around 7:30. They say East Coast, the main event should start being walked approximately 7:30. So I'm not going to get up at 5:30 and deal with the undercard. But bro, I mean, Monster Inoue, Nonito Donaire too, dude. I mean, all you have to do is watch the first fight, and you'll be waking up at sunrise to catch this fight. But Donaire, man, how many junior bantamweights have we seen at 39 years old, bro? I mean, it's just not real for a lighter weight fighter to be that successful at that age, man. Hey, Monster Inoue, like my brother Manny said, man, he's running through the lower weight division, and he's a knockout puncher, which everybody likes to see. This division doesn't get the pop that it deserves because only the hardcores are going to be watching this. Most people on the street, Monster Inoue, they'll think it's a Godzilla sequel. I mean, really, we understand it. We're the ones who'll drink that Bailey's and black coffee, stay up a couple of extra hours. But unfortunately, 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning, nobody's going to really pay attention except the hardcore boxing fans. And that's a shame because they're gonna miss a potential war over here. And I mean, I'm going to be there. I've been watching Donaire on different shows talking about how he's in his best condition, how his head's right for this fight. Last fight he was there for the show. This fight's for the go, bro. I mean this is boxing. This is what we like, man. This is two little monsters colliding at each other in Tokyo. This is Philippines against Japan. The battle of the Coral Sea, maybe. I mean, bro, I'm there, D style, bro. I'm there, man.
All right. Hey, Mario, I don't know if you remember the first Rocky movie where Apollo Creed's looking at his list of possible opponents and he sees the name The Italian Stallion. Sounds like a damn monster movie. In a way, it does sound like a monster movie. And he's going to fight the Filipino Flash. Who you got in the rematch, brother?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Inoue. Look, I know that for the last 10 years we've been doing this, and guys like Inoue who don't have a ton of commercial impact in the States or even in the UK, they become like hipster, like kind of like anecdotes, right? Like kind of like the way, we used to do with some of the smaller weight guys, like back in the day, Giovanni Segura, guys like that. And it's kind of like, it was always cool to like be in on the secret, right? But now like the secret's out. And what is Inoue? What is he? Is he pound for pound the greatest fighter currently fighting? Or is he the product of some of the best promotion on the planet with Top Rank? And they really know how to pitch these guys. I don't know still. I think the jury's kind of still out. For me, he's a pound for pound guy. Top 5, easy. I think that this is a fight that he needed desperately. Because when you look at the body of work that both men have done since the rematch, you can argue that Donaire's done more. You can argue that Donaire's accomplished more simply for the fact that most people didn't even see him beat Nobali. And like, you go to the Rematch fight and he just has completely dominated competition since then. Great point that Manny brought up that, his last real loss, other than Inoue, obviously, is Carl Frampton, which was at a weight that I don't think Donaire had a lot of business, being at. And so this revitalization of Donaire, that's the story here. That's the narrative. Has Donaire really brought back time? Has he really, turned that Doctor Strange knob to the point that he is somewhat a version of the person that we remember, absolutely starching what's the name on HBO in like the first round? Like, is he that guy? At this point, Inoue has to end this thing. He has to. He cannot leave another classic fight on the doorstep. The problem with it is everything Donaire is saying, back to what Manny was saying, back to what D-Style was saying, doesn't feel like that's the case, right? What did he say? He didn't say he's going out there to kill. He's going out to destroy, to slay the monster. What did he say? He said last time that's what he tried to do. This time, he's going to tactically try to pick him apart. What does that mean? We know what that means. That means that this fight is going to resemble much more Devin Haney, and I know we're going to get to that in a little bit, Devin Haney, Kambosos, and a lot less Teofimo Kambosos. And so, ultimately it's okay because we're the ones that are going to be watching that day in the morning. So, the fights start the main event's supposed to come out like 8:15 a.m. Let's hope that some grace of God, there's enough people on their morning routes that happen to catch it and check it out and give it like a huge ratings bump. That would be great. I don't expect it, but ultimately this is one of the best fights that can be made in all of boxing.
Hey, really quick, let me give a shout out to everybody here. Brandon Jackson, how you doing, brother? Team Batman on here. New media today. USA Boxing says peace. D-Style, man, I'm jacked for this fight. I'm gonna be live in the morning. That's dedication right there. Okay, the Gold Mario P. JC Man in the Water says, look, Inoue's best win is a 60-year-old Donaire who pushed him to the limit, but he's pound for pound. What a joke, he says. Damn. Shout out to writing Yogi. Yogi, how's it going? And Stefan, how you doing? Everybody at Lopito's Boxing Breakdown, how's it going? Gonzalo, shout out to you, brother. Check this out, okay? Inoue is going to beat Donaire this time. And he already beat him, but this time he's really going to beat him. If you want to be tactical like that with Inoue, he's going to pick you apart. It's just what he's going to do. Because you don't give someone like Inoue, who's a little chess master, time to think. All right. Because he thinks in there, he's tactical. He finds ways to change levels. He finds ways to counter you. I mean, you saw how he just nullified Maloney, and Maloney couldn't do anything. Like Maloney he looked like he didn't know what to do at times, and every time he threw some, Inoue was countering him and hurting him. Monster Inoue is going to win this fight by late round stoppage. I think he's going to hurt Donaire. Now, Nonito Donaire and Rachel Donaire have been doing the rounds here on YouTube, so God bless them. I don't have anything against Donaire. I'm a fan of Donaire's, but, they've been going around talking about the eye, and every time Inoue looks at the mirror, he thinks about me because I fucked up his eye, and you could tell a difference in his eye, by the way. But I don't know, man. I just don't know you want to, do that because then, karma's going to hit, man. I honestly believe the one with the messed up eye this time is going to be Donaire. I really do. I think Donaire's going to have some type of eye injury in this fight, and they're going to stop this fight late. That's just how I'm seeing it. You know what I mean? So
it's just he's getting stronger and stronger, man. I mean, and I get it. I understand the comment that one of our someone posted in the chat, and I can see that. I can see where he's coming from, but sometimes you are a victim of your opponents because you're so talented and you're still working your craft. And I get when a lot of people are talking about the lower divisions, they don't really give a damn about them. They don't even pay attention. You talk to people, you tell them that there's a Gallo Estrada and there's a Chocolatito. Chocolatito is almost same age as Nonito Donaire, close by, and then look at what they're doing. And they're about to go out and eventually again. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. The lower class of divisions, you'll see the best trilogies. You'll see the best action there is right now. And I just feel like Donaire, it's not going to peak higher than he is right now. But Inoue, he will. And he is. And he's going to find better opposition. He's going to probably eventually move up. There's not a whole lot for him there. He could, Undisputed. Easily, he'll be another great division, Undisputed. But he can move up there to 122 and probably start, looking into some other opposition up there, which, hey, there's a guy named Fulton. Who knows, right? Very interesting. That's the guy that I could see, moving up and making greatness. And that's why, if you're not tuning in, you're missing out. What's going to happen is people are going to jump on board when the stock is high, and then the stock's going to crash, and you're like, oh, what's the hype about, right? You came in late to the show. That's the problem.
No, I don't know if you guys are aware of the glove stuff, right? Apparently Inoue's team, according to Donaire's team, Rachel specifically, they showed up with gloves that were not sealed in plastic. They're like, oh, you can't wear those. Those weren't sealed. But then they resolved it because they did have some other ones that were sealed. So I don't know. Apparently there were some issues with the gloves. And last time he wasn't able to wear the gloves he wanted to wear, but now he will. There's just a lot of things. But look, if you're that confident, why are you making a big deal? Why you keep bringing up the fact that you didn't wear the gloves you wanted to wear last time?
Nah, that's all A-side tactics. Look, I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of people don't like Donaire's wife. And I'm not I don't want to sell that fact. I don't know her. I've interviewed her once or twice. I don't know her. Maybe she's cool, maybe she's not. I don't know. And I really don't care. What I do know for a fact is that team has been in boxing so long, they understand what those type of tactics can do. They understand what those things mean. That kind of stuff bounces off of them. It really does not have any sort of effect, not at all to a degree on guys that are up here, better, more experienced, and ultimately show up to win, because that's a big thing. When you're going to travel as far as Donaire's about to travel, if you don't have your head on right, it doesn't matter who the best guy is. It really doesn't. You're going into enemy territory. We saw with Devin all the antics. I mean, Bill Haney getting late to the party, his cut man getting detained at the border. at the airport, all those little things. This is what boxing is. And by the way, so is baseball and NFL and NBA. If you don't think that, banging on trash cans and slicking up balls and deflating balls isn't going on in the hometown of your favorite team, you're fucking crazy.
Houston Astros. Shout out to the Houston Asterisks.
Yeah, they're tied 4-4. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, we'll wait and see what happens in that fight, of course. But people will be watching the show tomorrow. The fight's already done. Just so, like, we'll see. Let us know in the comment section. Let us know in the chat who you have winning. A lot of people giving their thoughts. Check this out. Let's start off with David Morrell, man. Yesterday he looked dominant. Another great performance. Is it time for him to get David Morrell Jr.? Is it time for him to get a shot, whether it's Benavidez or Canelo? Is he ready for that level? I know he doesn't have a lot of fights, but I mean, this level of opposition, he's just destroying them. So Bruce, talk to us. What do we do with this guy? I mean, either step him up, keep the same level of competition, what?
Yeah, D-Style. I'm from the school where, bro, I mean, you have a belt, whether it be your super belt or your regular title, bro.
He's got the Coors Light belt.
Take the kit gloves off, bro. I mean, that's all contenders should be welcome there. I mean, people will say, well, he only had 7 fights. He had an extensive amateur career. And, I'm not a historian, but I always kind of fall back into boxing history. And I think of a guy like Leon Spinks, who 7 fights, man. And he gave us 2 fucking great fights with Ali. Bro, I mean, you've got a belt. You're wiping out your lesser opposition. And this kid, Hot Sauce Henderson, he wasn't bad. He was there. He had a plan. And I was checking out his corner, bro. He had a. I didn't catch the names, but his cut man was doing his job. His trainer was eye to eye with him, and his second was looking at Morrell's corner. Didn't take his eye off that. He was making sure everything was on the up and up there. And I just want to give him a lot of credit on there. That's the way a corner should be run. But when it came into the fight, fucking David Morrell was levels upon levels better. It was no contest. He got destroyed. And Morrell does need better opposition. You don't hear his name mentioned when you start hearing the top 168ers who they're calling out. But I mean, he should get his name in there because I mean, boxers have the shelf life of milk, man. They don't realize that they have to strike hard or they're going to spoil. And David Morrell's hot right now. He's got a big following. He's got a lot of people are riding on him, bro. I mean, what's keeping him back? He's a champion, man. How much higher can you get than that now? There's only one way to go for him. No more second-rate competition, man. I want to see him in there with some live bodies.
Okay, all right. Hey, Mario. I mean, look, some people say, hey, he doesn't have enough fights. He ain't ready, but like he's destroying the guys they're putting him in there with. I mean, I don't know what else they could do with him at the moment. What do you think?
Yeah, I am always weary about this kind of stuff, right? Because it would be one thing if this guy had, how many is it? 8 or 7 fights, 6 knockouts, I think, on BoxRec, but like he was in the World Boxing Series or like he fought a bunch of times in Mexico that don't show up on his resume. Like that would be different. This is a situation where he's 24. Like he's only fought, he hasn't even fought it 10 times yet. And so I think that like look, because we've been down this road. What was the Puerto Rican kid who ended up being a huge piece of shit and killed his wife? Like that guy. Everybody thought that was. Thank you. Like that's the like we thought those guys were going to be great, like the Novas and Abraham, like all these recent guys that took their big dips. I'm not saying they can't bounce back, but they're not machines. They're not just bulletproof. These guys aren't ready for the Canelos of the world, the Spences of the world, and it's unfair for Morrell to be put in that situation. He's going to talk the talk. He's going to say, I'm ready for this, I'm ready for that, because that's his job. He's supposed to say that. My perspective is coming from the Twitterverse that seems to want to push this guy into the fire pits already, and again, I feel like it's a little too soon. Let him continue to do the things that Berlanga is doing. Like, why does Berlanga get all and you can make the difference between like, oh, what these guys have looked like against specific opponents, right? But it's still the same argument. These guys are building their resume. These guys are building their appeal, right? But what I can say is in a couple years, Morrell on this path that he's on, he could be one of the biggest fighters on the planet. He looks like he's got that kind of skill. But I promise you, the worst thing that could happen, and a thing that really could happen in terms of percentages, is putting him in there when he's not ready, getting him fucking starched, and him never be the same again, because we've seen it a million times. And so I don't want him to be a victim of that stuff. But ultimately, I'll be honest, when those guys step up big and you don't think they got a shot, that's how you build Rocky, Stallone type of fans, and those people become, fans for life. So we'll see. I'm enjoying the ride so far.
Yeah, but Mario, doesn't that cheapen the WBA regular middleweight belt when you're
100%.
champion?
100%. But for me and the rest of us who know, we know, like, that's never been a belt that anybody should give a shit about. Honestly, like, you want to care about the guy, that's great. But don't throw that in. It's not the same accomplishment that Devin Haney just got.
Isn't the regular belt? Isn't it like what the like?
But doesn't he have mandatories?
Yes, he gets mandatories.
I feel like the regular belts are like they're taking the place of what like the NABF used to be. You know what I mean?
But the NABS are still there, though.
Yeah, but they mean less now because they have the regulars now. It's kind of like you get what I'm saying. Like,
I get what you're saying, 100%. It's like the Intercontinental title, right? It's become like a secondary title to the world title. Here's the thing. It's not fucking pro wrestling. We don't need the television United States title. You know what we need? We need regional belts that guys who pay their dues and fight the fights get. And we need world champions, people that we can establish as, look, this is our Tom Brady. This is our LeBron James. This is our Cowboys, our Lakers, our Houston Astros. These are the world champions. And these are the guys you have to face. And you give a guy like Morrell a belt, then things are expected of him that we would expect the world champions, that are just unfair for a guy that doesn't even have 10 fights.
Hey, shout out to El Chido, the Don in the building. How you doing, brother? Nando Llamas, thank you for the super chat. It says salute to the panel and the chat. Nonito by KO East Bay all day. He's got the Filipino flag emoji, the boxing glove emoji, and the muscle emoji. He's all in, man. That's a hook. That's what that is.
Wow.
That's the hook. Hey, talk to us, brother. En vivo, talk to us. Talk to us.
I got a lot of mixed emotions here, right? I think I'm with Bruce when he says that, and I'll call it generational talent, right? These are Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, people they come from high school directly into the NBA and they make a statement, right? Boxing's got them. It's got them, but it's a little bit different. And there's a guy out there that Mario mentioned. His name is Berlanga. He's got the talent. He's great. He got built up through a big hype. Not a lot of people knew him in the first 3 fights, but when became 10 fights, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 by the first round, everyone jumped on board until the opposition started to get tougher and tougher. Does that make sense? So right now, if you think about it, Alantez Fox has been the only person that he has fought that had lots of experience. I get it. Some of these boxers, they have an extensive, when it comes to amateur, 200, 300 fight. Look at Lomachenko, and came out, lost, and came back in, and, and came in and, got a quickly world title, right? There's another kid in town. You'll hear it soon. He'll be one of the fastest. He actually is one of the fastest in having an intercontinental title for Puerto Rico. And he is 105 pounds. You'll see him dominate in the future, but he's in his 3rd fight and about to eventually 4th, 5th, maybe 2 more fights. He's gonna go after the world title. This is great. It's great for boxing, but the reality is depends on the division that you are and the fighters that you have fought. Have they really taken everything from you? Have they exploited your talent? Have they made you work your way into beating around? And how are you going to react after 8, 9, 10 rounds, championship rounds? These are some of the things that I talked over and over and over when I speak to someone about Edgar Berlanga. I keep telling them, listen, 16 great knockouts. Now we want to see the best of them. We want to see them in the distance. We want to see their skills. What happens right now is people are not seeing his skills, not seeing the movements. He's changing. He's progressing. He's going to have a much better, tougher opposition coming in Angulo. But going back into Devin Morrell, I mean, it's the same thing. And he's got a WBA regular championship. No one really knew about it. I got to keep explaining all these different belts and JCPenney and email belts and all that. Is very confusing. We got to get this nonsense going away. And the problem about this now is the organizations are dictating and mandating freaking fights, right? So they're trying to get in between on everything instead of letting the promoters and the fighters make that kind of decision.
Great point.
Bottom line is, Devin Morrell's going to be great, but at his time, he's going to need to wait. I don't think he can beat Canelo. I don't think right now he can beat, on the other side, look at Munguia. Munguia is a guy that should be fighting champions, and they're not. He's a great talent, and they're not giving them the fights that we want to see. He's ready, right? So we got two different things that we're measuring right now.
Yeah, there's like the issue with Morrell right now, and really quick, shout out to Ringside Reporter Live. Make sure you check out their show every Sunday. He says the hardcore title. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I remember that. Remember they used to pit each other anywhere,
everywhere,
no matter what.
That was the best.
That was crazy. Yeah. And then of course he also says the broken esophagus title.
That's funny.
Oh man, like Kambosos is the master at that for sure. Shout out to Joe Habib. Shout out to Ringside Reporter Eric and all that good stuff, man. Thanks so much for the support. Look, the problem with like Morrell is this, right? Let's say Canelo fought him. Like, let's say he fights him in December, right? And then Canelo beats him. People are gonna be like, "Yo, I mean, you fought a dude with 7 fights, bro."
Exactly.
And then if he loses, you lost to a dude with 7 fights.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, he is a threat. Like this dude is a threat to anybody. And it's the same thing. It's not just Canelo. It's like Benavidez. Like you're fighting a dude with 7 fights. Like it's just crazy that he's this good, but he's like too good for the level of opposition that they usually put guys that are 7-0 against.
Yeah.
He's too good for that.
None of the champions are going to take a risk on someone like that because it's not worth it right now. It's not worth the money. Anyone that's ranked top 3 besides Benavidez and anyone else, they want a shot to that number 1 spot, that interim. They're not going to look back to same thing happens to Boots Enos and same thing happened to Virgil. I mean, none of the champions want to fight them. So he's going to have a long stretch where he's going to be lacking in some of the fights. But I think it's going to be there soon. I mean, a couple of years, maybe less.
But by the way, if you're a boxing fan and you want to see that kind of stuff where dudes step up out of their, I guess, place, we'll call that. I don't think that's the right way to say that. And you want to see these guys challenge major titles and do things that, it's seemingly not ready for. Why don't you start watching the junior bantamweights, and why don't you start watching the junior featherweights and even the flyweights, like junior fly? Why don't you start watching those guys? Like a guy like Bam Rodriguez, that guy, he went out of his place, being as young as he was, to take on the guy with by the way, not nearly as enough time as I thought he should have had, and he went out and did his thing, right? Those things like that are happening in boxing. The thing is you are always looking for that next big Canelo fight, or who's going to challenge the top dog at the the top of the mountain in boxing, and it sometimes it just, I don't know, you start to get desperate and look for as many different opponents as you can and kind of like feed your own narrative to it, not realizing that that's a fighter who has a bright career. And I think Manny said it best. He's in a position where he's too much risk and not nearly enough reward, because all the people that are saying that Morrell's ready for the big dogs are the same people that are going to turn in a flip when he loses or wins and shit on whoever. It's either he's great and a win over him means something, or he's not ready and he shouldn't be in those fights. Can't have it both ways.
Absolutely. Calix Morrell, he only has 7 fights. He's too good for the level of opposition they usually put guys that are 7-0 against. But he does have a Reggie belt, and the guy, he's just too good for these guys. But then people don't feel that he should step up yet because he only has 7 fights. What do we do with him? Step him up, or what do we do?
He's ready. He's ready. He's got amateur experience. He's ready. Look, the issue that he's going to have, because he's ready, the issue that he's going to have is Al Heyman's going to play this game with the PBC fighters at 168 to where he's going to stack the deck in order to try to bring Canelo to the table on the next deal when Canelo's deal with DAZN is done. So he's not going to put Morrell in there even though Morrell wants the Benavidez fight. He's been saying he wants to fight. He's not going to put those two in there with each other. He's not going to put Charlo when he moves up to 168 in there with those guys. He's not going to put Boo Boo Andrade in there with those guys if he moves up and moves to PBC and moves up to 168. The only guy that's expendable right now is Caleb Plant because he already got the Canelo shot and he lost. So he's expendable. But I would love to see Benavidez versus Morrell Jr. I don't think either one of those guys are afraid of each other. And what an awesome fight that would be because both guys who are willing to open up, fight on the front foot, and throw combination punches, and two guys who are offensive-minded fighters. But I just don't see it happening. So I don't know what they're going to do with him, to be honest. Because he's ready. Don't worry about the 7 fights. That would be my message to people. Don't worry about the 7 fights. He's already top 5 at 168.
No, I get it, Calix, but here's the problem.
But he's not ranked there, though.
But you know what the problem? This is the problem.
He's not ranked there.
But this is the problem. Let's say Benavidez signs to fight him. Then Benavidez beats him. Oh, come on. They fought a guy with 7 fights. I mean, when is Benavidez going to step up and fight somebody?
What does he gain from it? Exactly.
But what's the alternative to that would be to wait for him to fight 10 more fights to get to 17 fights.
I don't know what the alternative is.
I like the 168 though is opening. I saw Bad Left Hooks rankings. They had him at 7 or maybe 6 coming into this fight.
Yeah.
But they also had Billy Joe Saunders. A lot of people still ranked, and Billy Joe Saunders hasn't fought in 13 months, and he has nothing scheduled. So I just think he's already a guy you would consider maybe 5, 6 in the division because it's not a deep division. It's really not. So I think he's ready at 7 fights.
But couldn't it be like a lot of people? You know, this is more of the casuals, right? A lot of the casuals I think isn't it great that you're up and coming and you fight someone, maybe a former champion, maybe a Daniel Jacobs. Maybe someone that has been tested, was been good in the past.
Yes.
And you come in as a gatekeeper because Jacob's a gatekeeper now, and give him a shot to see what he can do. Because I can guarantee if I'm going to meet this, I'm not going to risk it. I'm about to possibly fight Canelo after GGG. Who knows? Am I going to risk it with someone that's good, and I'm going to probably lose that opportunity to fight?
You know, that's a lot of the problem that the boxing mentality has today. They're afraid to get an L, bro. I mean, when you put 2 of these top fighters against each other, an L's not that bad. You can ask guys like Thomas Hearns. You know, you can ask Sugar Ray Leonard. You can ask all of the great fighters, bro. An L is not going to destroy your career. Sometimes it's going to elevate your career. And that's the mentality the real fighter has. They're not worried about that L and then, I'm going to be moved to the bottom of the pack. I'm going to lose my $1 million house. Bro, a fighter knows he wants the best fighters, and an L, hey, let me talk to another trainer. Let me see what I did wrong. Let me change my cardio, whatever it may be. An L is not the end of the road.
If a 21-year-old,
bro.
Especially
for a 21-year-old.
If a 21-year-old like Bruce Goss knows this, y'all should know this, man. Lady, y'all gotta wake up. Okay, I'm an old fuck. Like, I'm old as fuck, so I remember the days when people were worried about the O. You know what I mean?
But those fights mentioned, Darrell's a good fight for him, and also Danny Jacobs. I love that fight too. A gatekeeper type opponent who has a name that you can put that and say, okay, he's already past that, so we can move him up to Benavidez. But I'm telling you, he said he's ready. He's already called out guys like Benavidez. So
he's supposed to say those things, though.
Yeah, we want to market.
Hey, but let's we got a bunch of topics to tackle, guys, here, and I want to talk about a potential knockout of the year. Cordina KO over Ogawa. First of all, what are your thoughts about the match itself, and is it, in your opinion, a possible knockout of the year, Calix?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out off the top of my head if there was a knockout more impressive, and maybe the panel can bring something else up. But that was the most impressive knockout highlight reel KO that I can think of this calendar year. That right hand was beautiful, and you can tell he was waiting for that opportunity, and he landed it. But it was shocking because going in, we were talking about, will Cordina win by decision or will Ogawa win by knockout? The least likely scenario of this actually happened. The least likely scenario, according to the betting odds, was Cordina was like plus 1,100 to win by knockout. Nobody saw that coming. He had surgery on the right. He had surgery on the hand. He was off for 16 months. He fought 3 times in 2021. He gets his big win now. So now he's a legit top 5 guy in the weight class.
Let me throw one in really quick for you. Lee Wood over Conlon or this one?
I would. That's yeah.
Lee
I
Woods.
forgot about that one.
Yeah.
But I think this one, as far as I don't know, he knocked Conlon out the ring, and he came. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
I think one
This
has
one
like the
was great. This
drama.
one was
The other
great.
one was like a sudden, right? It was like a different type of knockout.
Because
mean,
there
in
was a
a
different
in a
feel
best-
to it. Like this one was
Yeah.
like that. Like
In best
Hale
case
used to
scenario,
talk
they'd
about-
end up splitting the things. It would be like a knockout and then like fight of the year type of situation.
Right.
We've had those happen before. You know what I mean?
But this was so sudden
Yeah.
and shocking because nobody expected people can say what they want. Nobody expected Cordina to win by knockout. It was Cordina by decision was the most likely. And then it was like, oh, will Ogawa land something big throughout the 12 rounds? Cordina's going to outbox him. But
Right,
nobody expected a second round knockout the way it happened. So I would say KO of the year so far. I'd
okay.
say it would edge out Conlon.
All right. Hey, Mario, I'll throw another one. Does Tank Davis Raleigh fit there? Does that one fall short? Or what are your thoughts?
It definitely should be in contention 100%. And honestly, I think there's probably a really good chance that it ends up winning, even though it isn't necessarily the best. And the reason why is because most people that are casuals saw it, whether it was a highlight on ESPN or whether it was just, on a short or Instagram or whatever the fuck, like they saw it, you know what I mean? So it's like, it has traction. It has momentum. What happened this weekend, unfortunately, is going to come and go. Don't get me wrong. I think that it was a huge moment, obviously, for Cordina, right? I mean, now Shakur is talking about fighting him and, his name's being thrown into all these fights. I'm not saying he beats them or anything like that. It's just that that was an opportunity that wouldn't have otherwise been there without not just this win, but the fashion in which you won it is what is, blasted you into the limelight or whatever kind of light exists in boxing these days, commercially speaking. But I honestly don't think that many fans outside of us kinds of fans know that even happened. There were a lot of people focused on Devin Haney, and not one of them that I know or spoke with this weekend on Twitter, IG, or even just at my house had no idea that fight even happened or took place. So, I think ultimately Tank is probably the front runner unless something at a, equally high commercial level happens, like a knockout, like AJ just gets flattened or Usyk gets flat. Like, unless that happens, I think the winner is ultimately going to be Tank. But man, great job by Cordina. I think he definitely right now owns like the hardcore pound for pound knockout of the year.
And let's welcome Gonzalo in the building from Lopito's Boxing Den. How's it going, brother?
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me first of all?
We hear you perfect, loud and clear. What you think about the big knockout, brother, of Ogawa got knocked out by Cordina? Is it the knockout of the year in your opinion?
Well, from what I recall, I watched the highlight. Man, that dude over here in the Philippines, it's like really early. But then, the zone was like 2, 3 in the morning for me. But then I watched the highlight. Man, that was a hell of I believe, overhand right. And then Japanese dudes are notorious for like having tough chins. And I don't know if that Ogawa guy had ever been knocked out, but just the way he caught him, man, it was an incredible punch. And the way he fell, it was a really good knockout. I would have to go back and kind of consider what are the other spectacular.
Well, do you remember the Lee Woods Conlon one?
That was a great one too. The dude fucking clubbing it off the ring between the ropes. So he kind of did what Benavidez did to Lemieux, but times 2. No, he fell all the way down.
All the way out of the ring.
Yeah.
Well, let me add this before I go to Bruce Gus. I think the Lee Woods one might win because of the drama and how clutch it was. Like he needed the knockout. Like and at least it felt like it during the fight, and he got it. And then it was again he knocked him out of the ring. But we'll see. Bruce Gus, what you think of the knockout, brother? And is it knockout of the year so far for you?
Oh, bro, to me, once again, I'm going to delve back. That was one of Joe Lewis's specialties, bro. That was a 6-inch punch. Didn't wind. I mean, your opponent walks into that, but you're leaning into that at the same time. Bango, lights out. Roberto Duran nailed Sugar Ray Leonard with that punch in Montreal in the second round, bro. That is a classic fucking punch.
Yeah.
That was practiced over and over again. It was the right time. It was perfect. Cordina released that punch. I mean, it was definitely the classic. To me, that was a classic knockout of the year because it was just so perfectly planned and so beautifully executed, man. I think that was more impressive than the through the ropes. What's his name?
Lee Wood.
Lee Wood knockout.
Okay.
Yeah,
Colin.
as impressive if that was. Maybe going to the ropes accelerated that a little bit. I think the Cordina knockout was in my books the highlight of the year so far.
Okay. All right. Hey, Manny in Vivo Marrero.
Vivo!
What you think of the knockout? And is it the front runner in your opinion?
It's definitely gonna be looked at for the rest of the year. I guarantee you. We're still halfway through. Not even halfway through, right? Actually we are June. Halfway through the year, and I think we're gonna see a few more. We're lined up to a lot of different fights coming up, and I think we might see someone that might be slightly a little bit better. Yeah, Lee Wood and Michael Conley just topped it up right now for me for the year. I think you said it perfect. He needed that knockout, the way it happened, and just it was just a devastating punch that he just couldn't do much with it. Same thing happened here with Ogawa. I don't think Ogawa was expecting that at all. Sometimes you throw those combinations and you throw a punch while you exchange or while you counter punch, and that's how you're able to do it. Same way that Tank Davis does. He did it to Leo Santa Cruz, devastating uppercut, right? But in this case, there weren't any exchange. They were just kind of coming in, and he just grabbed it over there and just threw it, and he just landed perfectly right in the chin. Ogawa tried to get up, and he was all discombobulated, hand twisted. I'm like, oh, he's gonna break his shoulder or arm or whatever. And it was, you see a very good, powerful, technical, strong champion in Ogawa not being able to do anything. He got knocked out once against, I think it was what's his name in. He got knocked down once against Juki Miyoshi years ago. He lasted the 5th round, remember years ago. But anyway, we just after that we just never see him, struggle that way. And it's a very short fight. Couldn't judge much of the things that that Cordina can definitely do. But undefeated fighter, champion now. 15 fights in his belt now. 15 fights with 9 knockouts, and he's a world champion. And this is great. This is great for boxing, and these are great opportunities for some of these contenders that are grinding day in, day out, man. They're doing it. They're making it happen. They're getting exposure, right? Some of them are less than others, but they get that opportunity and they capitalize it, man. They risk taker. That is the difference maker. When you have someone that you want to exploit the opponent's talent, and you want to risk yourself, not just playing it safe, Devin Haney, not just playing it safe, right? But I take my risk, even though I know that I have the fighting control, and I love it.
Absolutely, man. And we're going to bounce it back. Keep staying on Cordina. However, Shakur Stevenson congratulated Cordina, saying, I told everybody he was the best fighter out of England. Ain't nobody better over there. And I think we should unify. He wants to unify. So back to you, Marrero. We're going to bounce back around. Talk to us. Well, what do you think? You think Uncle Bob's going to make that fight happen or what?
What else is going to happen to Shakur? Is Roger Gutierrez going to fight? Is he a matchup? He's the WBA champion from Venezuela. He's the other one that's got the belt. Is he going to be a match for Shakur Stevenson? Absolutely not. There is no interest unless Shakur wants to be undisputed. It's the undisputed year era, right? So unless he wants to do it, he can do it in 2 fights. But the fight that may make sense for him right now, because of the way it ended, because it was a fight to be talked about even before Ogawa fought, Cordina. Now he interests himself in doing so. 2 undefeated guys, both talented. No, there's no matchup for Shakur Stevenson right now at the 130 pounds. And be careful, man. This kid is going to be something else. And I just don't want to keep bragging too much about it because I am very bullish with Shakur Stevenson. But I tell you what, man, we got years and years and years of Shakur Stevenson, and people don't really know who he is.
It's allowed to ask you, does Cordina have a shot in that fight?
No, he doesn't.
Damn, no shot.
I don't see him a shot. I think mentally, Shakur's going to break him down. Shakur's a guy that also likes to take some risk and love it. but he's a very small technical fighter. He's fast and he moves
Gotcha.
well around, something that I didn't really get to see a lot in this Ogawa fight, and I wanted to see a little bit more, but I couldn't.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's the right matchup right now. I think it's just Shakur's on a different level. Sorry.
Hey, Bruce Goss, going back to you, brother. Shakur wants to fight. He wants to unify. You know, he wants to be undisputed, but Bob Barham's like, yo, I don't got money for this shit, but maybe it will happen. I don't know. What do you think of that potential matchup?
Unification is where it's at with me, D Styles, and in this day and age, this is the best fighting the best, and you know, like I was saying all evening over here, he's just coming off a sensational win, and I just went on about that, and Shakur, bro. I mean, you know, I think I talked about it on your panel one time. I have Shakur rated very, very highly out there, perhaps one of the 2 or 3 best talents out in boxing right now. So, man, you know, I think Shakur would handle him easily. If he has to rough it up, I want to see that too, because I want to see Shakur under heavy fire, and nothing would be heavier than catching one of those 6-inch rights right to the chops, bro. And man, that to me, that's what boxing's all about. I could care less who wins. I give the advantage to Shakur, but I'd love to see him in a firefight, man. That's and this would be a great one. So yeah. Sign this fight, Bob. Wake up, man. Do something before you go. Go out as a hero, bro. We're gonna remember you with smiles on our faces, man. That's the way I want to go out.
All right. Hey, Gonzalo, so Shakur called him out, says he would love to do the fight. Cordina actually retweeted him and everything. And do you think Cordina has a shot against Shakur?
Well, look, just because you're like a great fighter doesn't mean that you can't always like be beat. There's somebody that's gonna give you a difficult time, because you could be like a great fighter like Shakur, or for example like Devin Haney, but you could be a sucker for an overhand right. Now that overhand right that Cordina landed on Ogawa, we saw fighters when they make adjustments, you can take that punch away from that opponent. Haney did it to Kambosos. He took away the overhand right, then he took away the left hook. So I think Shakur is a very intelligent boxer that likes to do his homework, just like Haney. And the thing that makes Shakur very difficult is the fact that he's a left-hander and he's like on the taller end for that division, and he's got speed and timing where he can control. When they talk about lead foot control, when you got a left-hander, and this is what makes it difficult. He's a southpaw with that lead left hook. When he faces a righty, when he's facing a righty, most of the time the feet are not staggered. They're kind of coming where if you can control that dude when you got that speed and timing, and you can negate that dude from coming fucking forward, you're always like the one that's sniping in, and he can't step to you. Like we saw with Valdez, he couldn't find a place to put that foot once he collapsed the pocket, because the guy with the lead foot control, when you got a lefty versus a righty, and you're on the taller end, like Shakur, man, you're controlling that distance. So that's your wheelhouse, and he's a master at that. But I don't know if Cordina's a lefty or a righty, but what I'm saying is he'll pretty much take away that overhand right and dominate with that speed and timing. We know speed causes for you to punch harder, and timing beats speed. But when you have speed and timing, you're like Mike Tyson. You can snatch a pigeon out the air, and your ability to punch hard is more like animal cat-like reflexes, and that's what Shakur has. He's got the length, he's got the animal cat-like reflexes, and he controls the southpaw stance. That's what makes it real dangerous.
I hear you. Okay. Mario, talk to us. I mean, Shakur came out, praised them and everything, and said, hey, let's fight. You know what I mean? So what do you make of it? Does Cordina have a shot, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think every fighter always has a shot. I think the better answer to that is what's the percentage? And I probably give him less than 10%, maybe 10% at the most. You know, I think that
give him a 20, bro.
I give him 12. I'll go that high. Listen, I think that Manny's point, it wasn't his main point, but it was one of the many great points he made, is the entire backdrop of this situation. And that is that there is nothing for Shakur to do at 130 that sparks not interest, that's a bad word, but sparks, excitement, gets us up, wants us talking, it just doesn't, look, if Cordina would go and beat Roger Gutierrez And the winner of that, absolutely love it. You know what? Let Shakur go and fight somebody with a relatively decent name that we all know isn't a super threat. Top Rank's really good at booking those types of fights. And then let's have a, undisputed fight at the end of the year. That would be great. In fact, if I'm going to watch this, it would, to me, make more sense as Shakur would to double them up as quickly as possible. Stay relevant as much as you can, because you're not getting that from your B side. You understand? It's like you can go out there and fight a top B side. Look at Kambosos. Kambosos, despite losing, his reputation and his aura is still very high, because when you look at what he's been across from back to back, it's Devin, Haney, and Teofimo. You can't make the argument this guy isn't fighting some of the best out there, right? On the other side with Shakur, like, ask a casual fan who he's beat. Maybe they say Herring, maybe they say Oscar Valdez, but other than that, it doesn't get deep. And by the way, that's the top, that's the pinnacle. Anybody else that you can fight from this point on is going to be a decline in probably viewership ultimately. So if we're going to get this fight, I think it only makes sense that, Roger and Cordina, they unify, and then the big dog takes on the big dog, because that's Shakur, and there's really he is second to none right now. There is Shakur Stevenson at 130, and then there's like a bunch of empty slots and the rest of the division. And that's not shitting on Herring or Leo or Oscar, because they're all great fighters, but there is a good chance that we are looking at the early stages of a generational talent. That's how good Shakur looks. And so I'm sorry, but beating Ogawa, as great a fashion as you did it, that wasn't Valdez, that wasn't Burchell. Like, that wasn't somebody that's going to instantaneously give you that cred and give you that acknowledgement that you need amongst the casuals to really make that Shakur fight something worthwhile, which it is if it's for all the belts.
Hey, Calix, same question to you, man. Shakur immediately congratulated him, called him the best fighter in England, and said he wants to unify. Does he have let me put it the way Mario put it, because it is a better way to put it. What percentage chance would you give Cordina?
About 8%.
Come on, give him 10. Give him a
and
double
look, I like Cordina.
Go to 10. Go to 10.
Give him 10, brother.
I'm
I'll
gonna
vouch about the 2. Come on.
I like D-Star. I like Cordina. I think he's a hell of a boxer. I'm glad he's come back from the hand injury. I agree that he's the best fighter over there, and he's arguably the third best fighter in the division. But when I was breaking down this fight, I said, and I stick to it, Shakur showed that there's a clear gap between him and Valdez. And Valdez has shown that there's a gap between him and the rest of the division right now, right? Mm-hmm. So Shakur has clearly distanced himself from the rest of the division, and I don't think he's going to get the opportunity to become undisputed at 130. And I think Bob Arum sees that, which is why Bob Arum is sort of trying to nudge him to 135. Although Shakur wants to become undisputed, and he's been screaming from the mountaintops he wants to be undisputed at 130. I just don't think he's going to get that opportunity. One problem here is it's not going to be next, because Rakhimov is the mandatory. Rakhimov took step-aside money for Cordina versus Ogawa to happen. So Cordina versus Rakhimov is coming. Rakhimov had the draw with Jojo Diaz, I believe last year, maybe the year before. Rakhimov's a good fighter. That's a top 4 or 5 clash in the weight class. But I think Shakur is going to have trouble getting those unification fights at 130. I just don't see it happening.
Gutierrez fights Hector Garcia.
The zone and Top Rank, how are they going to make that work between the two fighters? And I think the Cordina side is going to use that to their advantage, because I don't think there's any question that Top Rank's willing to make whatever fight they can with Stevenson, because they can. They're not worried about this guy losing at all at 130. They're not worried. But I think he's going to have to make the move to 135 next year, because I don't see the fights developing for him at 130. And this fight's not happening next, though. It's going to be Cordina versus Rakhimov.
Unless Navarrete moves up to 130.
Hey,
and I doubt Top Ranks will put them together.
Not
Yeah,
so fast, but man, that would be
Man, that would be
awesome.
sweet.
Jeez.
It's
Absolutely.
Oh man,
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's
'cause
invited to my house for that party.
that big time.
You,
Let's do it.
you know, Navarrete doesn't have to be in place to punch. He could just wing away from either stance, whether it's
Yeah.
by mishap or by hook or by crook. He's just throwing.
He's
them.
like Air Navarrete, you know, like just
Air Navarrete, yo, let's go, yo. Somebody
Hey,
hit him up.
but
He
look,
needs
I
that.
want to go back to Gonzalo here. We're going to switch gears to Stephen Fulton. He defeats Daniel Roman to retain his belts, and it looks like that's going to set up a fight with MJ for Undisputed. I would hope anyway, 122. But before we get to that, hey, brother, what you think about his performance against Daniel Roman? What did he do right in that fight?
Well, we talk about two skilled fighters with not necessarily the highest KO ratio above like 50%. But going into this fight, I was surprised that Roman had 33.3 KO percentage. Actually, going in against Fulton, a guy with 40 KO percentage, I thought that he was going to be like the harder puncher because he likes to grind.
Right.
But basically, I thought, we saw Fulton took that away from Roman. He's more skilled. It wasn't like the most entertaining fight for like the first half, leading up to like the third quarter. Maybe it picked up to where when Fulton saw that Roman had nothing to offer, he basically stepped it up and he got the crowd involved. So he did good. Now, is there still questions? And we know that obviously he's real talented and he can step back. He take the distance as you're coming in. He could throw like a lead left hook, and he could kind of like box you and kind of like chip away with you as he's stepping back. And as soon as it starts getting the best of you, when you start tiring out, he'll start doing some little like he'll start pressuring, not necessarily like a pressure fighter, but he'll start taking back the fight to where it's okay, like he did against Daniel Roman. Make it exciting, this guy can't really hurt me now. Okay, now is there like that? It's like that little air of vulnerability. If he faces another fighter, for example, against Figueroa, that was a pressure fighter. He handled it, but it wasn't a clear-cut throat, actual like victory. And the other guy that he faced before that, I don't think that he was that highly rated. So going into like now that he's collected how many belts, but moving forward to maybe that undisputed fight against Akhmadaliev, we have to see him against somebody that can combine the skills like Figueroa did, the pressure, but probably like a better boxer and bringing some of that Uzbekistan style. Not necessarily like the Ukrainian or like changing up the angles, but he's doing some of that. He's changing the angles and providing these nuances that we have to see if Fulton can deal with that. Now, are we going to coin it the American style? Well, maybe. He's a good boxer, just like all these other guys are proving. Devin, Haney, and Shakur Stevenson. And these guys are like really doing good. Let's see what an Uzbekistan dude from the Uzbeki school boxing can do against him. So, man, that would be a good fight. Who do I favor? I don't know. But he's really good. He's really good. Do I have him in my top pound for pound list as of yet? Probably not. Because we have to see him against a higher skilled opponent like Roman with a little bit more punching power. That's basically it.
You're on
Hey,
mute.
hey Mario. So same question to you. What did you think of his performance? And let's just dive into it. Like, add on. Like, how do you think he's going to do against? How would he favor against MJ?
Let me cook. Listen to me very, very carefully. For all of you out there that are talking about Tank deserves to be number 1 pound for pound, number 2 pound for pound, number 3 pound for pound, Stephen Fulton deserves to be on that pound for pound list more than Tank right now. And I'm not saying that he's a better fighter. I'm not saying he beats Tank pound for pound. I'm not even saying
Man,
that
going out on a limb right there, Mario.
Listen to me. What I'm saying is that what Stephen Fulton has been able to do against the fighters that he has fought in that body of work, somebody tell me that's not pound for pound shit. Somebody tell me he's not in one of the most stacked divisions in boxing and he isn't dominating. Let me tell you right now, if you don't know and you take the top 10 fighters in that division right now, 9 of them have one loss or less. Okay. You are talking about a division that from top to bottom has more A and B fighters than any other division. I mean, well, maybe not any other division, but at least the top 3 division in this sport. Okay. What he did right was absolutely almost everything. And Daniel Roman, he is a tough fighter. He is a guy, ever since I saw him fight Adam Lopez, I got to see, bag work. I got to see him up close. This guy is a really good athlete, and I know that was years ago. Maybe he's not the same fighter, but still, it doesn't matter. What he was able to do against this guy was very, very impressive. And the laundry list of guys in front of him that he could have rematches with, that, he could fight, all those are great fights. But the Undisputed is what I expect from Stephen Fulton, because he went through that tournament and he did everything that, a great fighter should do. He did all of that and he didn't complain. And all he wanted was the best of the best every time out. I still think that Figueroa fight is there. I still think Angelo Leo's a problem in that division. And I think they'll meet at some point. But right now, what Stephen Fulton needs is, I think, to unify all the belts. That's a 50-50 fight, guys. If you do not know, that is a 50-50 fight. You're talking about one of the premier amateurs in Ahmed. I'll be honest, I still can't and don't really say his name well, so I'm just gonna call him MJ. Yeah, thank you. I'm just gonna call him MJ as well.
Imagine me. Ahmad Daliev.
Ahmad Daliev.
Yo, but if you don't know, that's a 50-50 fight, and it's one of the best fights, and I honestly believe the winner of that deserves to be top 5 pound for pound, honestly, because they have both shown that they have absolute talent. Call it eye test, call it whatever the fuck you want. He's still beating better fighters than guys like Tank. It's just the truth, and I'm not saying Tank's not pound for pound. I'm just saying that if you're going to make that argument, where the hell are you with Fulton? Because this guy's been showing up, taking care of work, and doing business. And he's not even taking on guys that this is mostly risk and very little reward. He's had to fight the cream of the crop, and people still don't pronounce his name right. And I say that as I butcher MJ's name, but still, ultimately, what you have here is a true clash.
You preach, Mario.
Exactly. Highest level of boxing. That's what that fight is. It's not going to sell 1 million on pay-per-view. It's not going to be pay-per-view. It's not going to have a huge rating pop. It is for us, and they need to give it to us. They have to. Now, I will ask another question if whoever D-Style, somebody answers it. My Showtime, which, by the way, F you Showtime, you need to do a better job of your DVR and figuring out where these fights cut off. And I admit, being a fan for so long, I should have, done 30 minutes or an hour after, but I completely missed the post fight. And so did he call out MJ? Somebody said he called out Brandon Rematch. I didn't hear it, but ultimately this guy's calling out everybody. He'll fight everybody. He's not scared of shit. Don't ever put the words Stephen Fulton and Duck in the same sentence.
Damn. Hey, I will say this though. Hey, Calix, first of all, can you properly pronounce MJ's name? That's what I want to know. Have you done it? Have you showed him respect like that?
MJ Akhmadaliev. And I can't pronounce the first name.
Okay, so
I've heard Morrell Jr.
So here's my question. Same question to you. Well, what you think of his performance, and do you think we're gonna get that MJ fight, Undisputed?
I had it 120 to 108 D-Style. I mean, this was quite the performance. Quite the performance.
He went every round.
120, 108. The other ones were 118, 110. Either way, it was wide. But I thought the rounds that people were giving Roman were comparative rounds. I mean, I just thought that Fulton was Roman. It's not like Roman was completely shut, not landing anything. But I just felt like every single round, Fulton did better. And I thought this was going to be a close fight. Last week when we talked about the predictions for this fight, I thought it was going to be a close fight that can go either way. I thought Roman was going to be able to set up his punches, and he was not. Fulton just had him off balance the whole fight. Off balance. He was fighting on the front foot, back foot. He can do everything. The lateral movement. The only thing that he really lacks that you call a flaw is the lack of punching power. But that's not come into play yet. So the interesting thing about him versus Akhmadaliev is Akhmadaliev fights Ronnie Rios later this month, a couple weeks from now, and I fully expect him to get past that fight because Akhmadaliev can fight. He's a beast. However, it's one of those boxers versus punchers matchup. And when I played this fight out my head after watching the Roman fight, I just think that Akhmadaliev might be too wide for him. I think that Fulton's going to have a lot of success boxing Akhmadaliev. I don't think he's afraid of anybody, anything, to Mario's point. And I think he's going to have a shot at becoming undisputed at 122. Hopefully it's next. Hopefully they don't over-marinate this fight. Hopefully they do it later this year. It's impressive what he's done, beating the number 3 guy and the number 4 guy in the division now with Figueroa and Roman. And I hope he gets this shot, and then he would have cleaned out the top 4 guys in the division. And that's an impressive resume on top of the eye test that we already see. If this guy was 135 or higher, everybody would have this guy top 5 pound for pound right now, or top 8, something like that. So he's on the bottom of my top pound for pound that I'm releasing tomorrow, which I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate for, which a lot of people, anybody who drops a pound for pound list is going to get hate. And I expect to get it tomorrow. I'm waiting till after the Inoue fight. I'm waiting to crown Inoue. I'm waiting to crown him.
Damn.
So I'm going to wait till after. And possibly Donaire. Possibly Donaire gets in the top 10. You never know.
I got you. Gonzalez, that's something.
And just to wrap it up, I love Fulton. And look, man, I hope he gets his undisputed run. And I think he's going to wait around at 122 to see how the Inoue situation develops at 118. If he does get past Donaire, which is a tough ask tomorrow, and then he sticks around and gets his shot at undisputed, you could have 2 guys undisputed at 118 and 122 facing off at 122.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
We gotta get ratioed with that pound for pound.
We got to leave some room for our senior citizens on the bottom of the pound for pound list. No, Donaire, Chocolatito Gonzalez.
Chocolatito.
And possibly, we're talking about Canelo when he beat Triple G officially. He skyrocketed to number 1. Now that he's back, Canelo's in the middle of the pack losing to Bivol. Why can't we have Triple G on the lower tier at 10 after, let's say if he beats Canelo? Because I remember back in the day we had Hopkins, Marquez, Mayweather. We had a bunch of guys that were like
Pacquiao, like the old farts were up there, yeah.
Yeah, man, the pound for pound dudes, when you got that talent, man, they're always been on there. But yeah.
Manny Marrero, talk to him. What do you think of Fulton's performance, and what do you think of a potential matchup with MJ? How do you see that fight?
Love it. I mean, first of all, I gotta apologize, Steven. I've been making you a loss. I mean, I've been against you ever since Angelo Leo. You fought Angelo Leo. No, Angelo Leo's gonna whoop, and no, Brandon Figueroa. That's my boy. That's my kid, Brandon. No way. There's no.
Well, I mean, I don't think he won that fight, but we'll talk about that.
But yeah, exactly. But
let's
anyway,
go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon. It's my boy, man.
I'm Republican when it comes to that fight.
Yeah. Then when I remember I watched Akhmadaliev fight, Daniel Roman. Daniel Roman really, I mean, it was a very close fight too. And I said to myself, wow, if he can really if Daniel Roman really he's struggling throughout the fight against Stephen Fulton, I mean, I can't imagine what Stephen Fulton would do if he fights, MJ. And so I think right now the experience takes over a little bit. By the way, that's great. It just talks about the topic earlier. He became a champion at 8th fight, which is great. You see these new up and coming guys, they're just becoming champions real quickly, and it's great. We see the talent, but at the end of the day, who have they fought? Did they just came in the right time? Was it just maybe a vacant title? Or maybe just it was a Richard Kami kind of thing. He was right there at the right time and became a world champion. That makes sense. So, Stephen Fulton is going to have his hands full. He's finally going to get a pretty nice payday. Hopefully, and I'm sure MJ it's gonna go over Rios. That's for me. I don't see any issues on that side of it. But I love, man, and you took the words out of my mouth. As a matter of fact, early in the show, I talked about this. I really do, right? And what a better way to showcase and see what happens tomorrow. Callie, you mentioned it perfect, man. Tomorrow we'll see what happens if the monster gets past, right? Gets past Nonito Donaire. It become one of my dreams to see the undisputed 122 pounds. Can he move up? And can he challenge whoever is the winner of both of them for the undisputed? And this is what I'm talking about. The monster starting to build himself up, eventually making a top 4-3 at the pound for pound list, which that may not be the only division. He'll probably be moved up. He'll may test 126, later on in his career. But man, what an exciting Stephen Fulton, bro. No one believed it. Nobody managed it. Like I said, man, I apologize. I've never talked to you. I've never met you. But when I do, I'm going to say these words to you. Sorry, man. I underestimated you all the time. And, he's proven people wrong. And that excites me. I'm glad. Enjoy the ride, because I believe the Undisputed will be coming, man. We need that.
And by the way, before I go to Bruce Goss, let me say this, because I've been hearing all this like, Fulton, he chose to fight that way against, the Heartbreak Kid. You know what I mean? He chose to fight that way against Figueroa. He made it harder than he had to, but Fulton just said, what did he say in the post-fight? I didn't wake up feeling good that morning. I got a new strength and conditioning coach. I feel better now. Like, let me just tell you something right now. Figueroa beats Fulton in a rematch. There's no doubt in my mind. And he beat him in that fight. It's just my opinion. Okay, it wasn't a robbery, nothing. It could have gone either way.
Close fights are not robberies.
It was a close fight, but in my opinion, Figueroa won that fight. It's just my opinion. And Figueroa's going to move up because he's too big for the weight. So Figueroa's going to be a problem in 126. And by the way, Figueroa, Navarrete, give it to us, please. That's a fight of the year candidate waiting to happen. Okay, so give us that fight. But with that said, that does not in any way, shape, or form take away with what Fulton has done. He did bang it. He outgunned Leo at Leo's game. He brought it to Figueroa, and in this fight, he fought a smart, strategic fight. I always felt like he loves to fight too much. He's going to get in a firefight, but he controlled himself for the majority of that fight. Now he did. He couldn't help himself. He had to press later in that fight, which he was successful at, but he had to do it. Like, you know what I mean? He couldn't just fight a fight on the back foot the whole fight, which is what I like about Fulton. With that said, Bruce Goss, talk to us. What you think of his performance, brother, and what do you think about a fight with MJ?
I was watching the fight, and I've been watching Fulton for a few fights. I've seen him fight on in the past, and when he fought Figueroa, and then this fight here with Roman. He's a very, very adequate fighter. He's a great fighter right now. There are a lot of great fighters. He doesn't do anything to just jump out, because you just mentioned so many different names, but they're all good fights. They're all fantastic fights. So I want to see Fulton fight MJ. Great. I mean all of these fights they're tantalizing. But I do want to say one thing though, man. I think Bob Arum and Showtime or whoever they're going head to head on, they have to get together, because it really disturbed me. I couldn't pay attention to this fight because I was watching the Top Rank fight and trying to pay attention to this. I'm not the kind of a person who can divide my attention when it comes to watching live boxing, bro. I'm sorry. And I think there's a lot of people like myself, especially when you're trying to deal with two screens. Who has that luxury these days, man? But I just wanted to say that I think boxing is shooting itself in the foot. They're doing this week after week after week. We complain about it week after week, but yet they don't hear us. And we're the boxing fans. We're going to watch everything. Just make it a little more time friendly. Don't go back to back. Let us watch the post-fight interviews, because man, there's plenty of boxing to go around. We're going to watch it all. Just don't run it back to back, because that kills two fights. And instead of just one, I can't watch one with one going on, and it's my one pet peeve in boxing today is running these fights head to head.
Absolutely, brother. Hey, well said, man. But I will say this: I'd rather have the fights at the same time problem than no fights. You know what I mean? Like, I will say that. Look, I want to move forward here and talk about the big fight of the weekend. Devin Haney becomes undisputed by defeating George Kambosos. Defeated him in Melbourne, Australia, in Marvel Stadium. There was about, at least they said there was 40,000 people there in attendance. And Devin Haney pretty much put on a great performance. I mean, I think he looked pretty good. Probably the best performance of his career. I felt Jojo gave him a better fight. I felt even Linares gave him a better fight, which is astonishing to say. But nonetheless, let's start with you, Manny in Vivo Marrero. What you think about Devin Haney's performance, brother?
Oh, wow. I'm gonna start by I want to give props to Haney. Haney's another guy that I don't know. I just it's just one of those things that it's not that I want to see the talent. It's just Devin Haney for me. It's a very boring fighter. The style, I'm not sure. He's not a risk taker, but I'm gonna part ways with that. And you got to deal with what you have in front of you, right? Sometimes as a boxing junkies or medias or analysts, whatever we want to call ourselves, we want to try to build up our own type of boxer, right? And this is who we want to see from this person, and this is who we want to see from them. But the reality is each individual boxer adapts and prepares to what they have in front of them at that particular time. Oh no, but if he fights like that, like he fought, oh no, look how he fought against Gamboa. Everyone has gone through Gamboa, right? Linares rocked him at the end of one round. I mean, to the point he couldn't get back to his corner. No way. Kambosos stronger. Kambosos going to do this. Kambosos do, and I had Kambosos winning. I didn't have winning the fight. Sorry, I picked Kambosos to win on a split decision. And was I surprised about that? Not really, because Kambosos is who we thought he was, right? He was at the right time, at the right moment. I don't want to say that he took Teofimo on a bad timing, because you can't bring that into the equation. That's his problem. Whether he couldn't make weight, whether he had the fame put up into his mind and couldn't really concentrate and focus and be that type of elite, consistent boxer, that there's no excuses at all, right? I thought throughout the conference that Kambosos was very calm, had no dramas, no issues. On the meantime, Haney's dealing with all kinds of shit, whether it's a visa, passport, whatever it was, so traveling stuff. I mean, and when you look at the other side of the coin, Haney was the one that's more relaxed. He stuck to his game plan. As boring a style as it is, defense and movements and being able to consistent throw the jab and control the fight, that does it. He got the fight. He took control. But I want to see Haney, and here I go again, preaching to the choir, saying that we want to build up a boxer, but I really want to see him taking more risks. I think he knew he had him dominated. By the way, Chelsea Kambosos missing all these shots and all these punches, that was horrible. I mean, to think about how accurate he is with his punches and not being able to land any of them for the first few rounds. I mean, the first round, that's about it. I thought I gave him 4 rounds when I watched the fight. I think I was too drunk. But honestly, watched it again and barely gave him 3 rounds. But if you think about it, Kambosos had everything to win. He was at home court advantage, had the crowd, had the people. The biggest moment in Australia, right? People were concerned about Jeff Horn and Pacquiao. They're going to give the decision to them. No, shout out to the judges. You did the right thing. You picked the right winner, the person who took control of it, didn't take any risk. And let me just pull back at the end of the 12th round. He knew he had him dominated. For me, I wanted to see him more take risks and chances, not to knock him out, but to give a much better performance, to make a statement that I'm in here the division, because Kambosos, when you look at what's happened in the 135, which is one of my favorite divisions, Kambosos is not even top 5 in that division, right? Kambosos, can he beat a Devin can he beat a Tank Davis? Can he even beat Isaac Cruz? Lomachenko? I mean, we're talking about all these other boxers that are at the 135 pounds. Is Haney rated for that? That's the next level that I really want to see Haney. And sure. I don't want to keep him bashing him or anything like that, because me as a fan, I want to see new potential, new prospects, new contenders, new life, I mean, he's got a great following. Not a lot of people believe in him, but it's just a matter of how things were given to him. He earned it. Congratulations, Haney. Earned it. Did what you had to do to beat him. Rematch makes no sense. Rematch clauses, that's why they're there. I can care less to see that. I want to see Haney moving up. Let's see what you can do with a Lomachenko. He doesn't back out. He always throws a lot of punches, and he punches hard. See what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Bruce Goss, what you think about the performance of Devin Haney, brother?
All right, man. No, in an ideal world, bro, I'll tell you what we do. But see this right here. This is perfect because we have the privilege of being Monday morning quarterbacks over here, and I mean, if, we look at this fight, George Kambosos. Think about that. This was a classic case of they sold the sizzle and not the steak. You understand that, bro? Everybody was anticipating a lot more than most people say we got. But see, I look back Monday morning quarterbacking and Kambosos. What did he do to achieve this status? He beat a compromised Teofimo Lopez and who else, man? All his fights were, most of his recent fights were controversial decisions. He's not knocking anybody out, but yet people are giving him this Roberto Duran status, which as we look back at it, we were really fooling ourselves because fucking Devin Haney had a cakewalk with this man. Devin Haney is maybe too talented right now for his age. I think he has to fight somebody like Tank, and like I said, get smacked and see what he's all about. Because I can't see these guys taking getting an easy defense. And man, this is boxing, bro. Make the dough. Give us these fights. You're not going to be around forever, and if you are, we're not going to remember you when you're gone. Get in there, become undisputed. You got the 4 kings. That, bro, I don't even know who they are anymore, but unify them, make them one king. And bro, and this fight, it was I think Kambosos, I think he's going to go for the buyout clause here because a rematch. Who's going to buy that, bro? He says he's got it. It's signed. We know that it's been in part of the contract. It's in Australia. I don't even think the Aussies are going to want that, bro. They're going to be lucky to sell out a swamp playground for that fight. So I think Kambosos is going to take some dough, and then maybe, like I said, in the perfect world, we could see these fights happen right now. Tank just fought last week. Haney just fought this week. They've got the perfect resting. I mean, everything building up the fight, bro. Sign that fight tomorrow. Make these cats a millionaires, man. This is what it's all about. This is boxing, and this is what'll satisfy me. This makes boxing the perfect world.
Absolutely. Hey, really quick before I go to Calix. So, I mean, Habel types in the chat saying nobody should call this fight boring. It was an exciting fight. Whoever calls it boring is going to hear from me. Brother, that's an opinion, brother. If people are falling asleep during the fight, you can get mad at them all you want. If you're not there to throw water in their face, you're going to wake them up. Like people felt it was boring. Too bad. It was a boring fight in the opinion of many people. I love the sweet science. I love the technical side of boxing, right? But I'm not a fan of the holding when the guy's trying to get some combinations off. I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan when Klitschko did it, but I respected Klitschko and I'll respect Haney. But people have a right to call it boring if they feel it was boring. Simple as that. Calix, what are your thoughts on the fight, brother?
Yeah, that's fair. And but one thing on the boring, and I mentioned this on the podcast earlier, is if we want to call a fight boring, I think we have to blame Kambosos for that. I think there comes a certain point when we know who Haney is. If it's a boring fight, that's going to lean towards a Haney fight. That's the type of fight Haney wins. Once he's going to jab. He landed as many jabs as he did power shots. And Kambosos said all Haney had was a jab. Well, guess what? That's all Haney needed to win 10 rounds against Kambosos. That's all he needed. We can't expect Haney to go over to Australia and then open up and fight Kambosos' style when he saw what happened to Teofimo. Teofimo opened up and left openings all night for Kambosos. Haney was not going to make that mistake when all he had to do was jab, and Kambosos was waiting for the second shot all night to counter, standing right in front of him. He threw 100 punches less than Haney. If Kambosos was going to land something big, he had to do it with combination punches. He had to get on his toes, move in and out, show some angles. He didn't do any of that. And guess what? If you have a problem with Haney clinching and the referee isn't going to do anything about it, throw some low blows. use some elbows on the inside, make the referee get involved, dirty the fight up on the inside. And Kambosos did none of that. Kambosos had, it was almost like he had never seen Haney fight before. He didn't know how to deal with any of it. And Haney separated himself from Kambosos so much to where I don't want to watch a rematch. I don't want to see it. I already know who the better fighter is. I want to see him move on. But in reality, what we're going to have is he's going to fight Kambosos again. Since he won the 4-fight contract with Top Rank, he's got a 4-fight with winning. He has a 4-fight contract with Top Rank. So what that's going to be realistically, he just fought his first fight. He's going to fight Kambosos in the second fight, and he's likely. Bob Arum wants badly. He's wanted for a couple of years now for Lomachenko to be the undisputed champion at 135. He's been wanting that badly, and he's going to have his shot at the beginning of 2023 to make that a reality. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, because that's a great matchup there. Could go either way. But Lomachenko and possibly Shakur Stevenson on the 4th fight. I think Haney's going to be a guy who is expendable to Bob Arum. So you're going to see good fights with Devin Haney the next 2 years in this 4-fight contract. The reason I say he's expendable is because I don't think Bob Arum expects Haney to re-sign with Top Rank on the other side of this deal. So we're going to get good fights. And the good thing about Haney is he wants the big fights. He wants legacy fights. So I appreciate that about him. I appreciate Devin Haney. Undisputed is quite the accomplishment, especially at 23 years old, but not all Undisputeds are equal in how they got there. So I'm going to leave that out there. This is one of the weaker Undisputed runs we've seen. This is a mixed bag here. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't think there's a generational talent in the lightweight division. They built these guys up as these 4 kings behind me at 135. I don't think that's what we have at 135. I think if they did a round robin like a Super 6 in the 168-pound division a decade ago, I think all those guys would take L's. And I'm fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. But Devin Haney, great accomplishment. And I hope he continues this because I think he'll be a great champion. But he has flaws like the other guys. And his flaw is clearly lack of power. And I still think he's a little bit chinny, so we'll see what happens with that. But great accomplishment. And he'll make his premiere on my top 12 pound for pound tomorrow.
He should be top 10 because he's undisputed. That's my opinion.
That's right.
But I will say this though, I just don't get why would anybody get mad if they feel the fight's boring. Like, I just don't get it. Like, look, if you want to take out the pom-poms and be like, yeah, I love this fight. Like that's knock yourself out.
It's the fighters. It's for the fighters. That's why.
Yeah, right. And one last point on that is his fight with Linares was not boring. His fight with Jojo Diaz was not boring. And the reason those guys found ways inside that jab and hurt Haney, even Jojo Diaz, they found ways within the jab. Kambosos, this was his fault that his dad was even yelling at him in the corner. Like, all these people showed up for you. You got to open up. And he didn't. He was waiting. He was posing in front of Devin Haney. He fought Devin Haney's fight. And credit to Devin Haney for that. He kept him on the end of the jab. He kept the pace. I didn't expect Haney to open up. I'm not faulting Haney for not opening up. He fought his fight and dominated.
I got you. Hey, Gonzalo, talk to us, brother. What you think of Devin Haney's performance?
Well, considering everything, him having to travel over there, he stuck to the game plan. And if you watch Devin Haney's words in the post-fight, he said he didn't want to take unnecessary risks. It's kind of like what you guys have been saying. He is what we have here is what you're basically getting. We know what type of style, the type of attributes, the type of caliber, and for a young age, he is a master boxer. The type of boxer that he is. So he said, okay, I stuck to the game plan. He took the last round off. Basically, he did like an Oscar De La Hoya, but not for like the 10th or 11th and 12th, just like for the last one, where he knew he had it in the bag. And wow, considering that it's like overseas, that's a great risk to take. But obviously, you don't want to do the Meldrick Taylor thing. When you pretty much got the fight in the bag, you want to fucking go hard, where you're exposing yourself to getting knocked out. And Kambosos, was he ever like that imminent threat? Was he like imminent danger to where he was going to get the stoppage against a better boxer? Probably not. But he did what he was supposed to in regards to like holding the center of the ring. because I thought like days prior I had gone back and watched Jose Luis Ramirez versus Pernell Whitaker in France. Ramirez was coming forward while Pernell Whitaker was like 15-0, Olympic gold medalist. He was taking like large circles around the perimeter of the ring to where he was actually like holding the center. Although I thought he outboxed Ramirez, he lost. Because according to like the judges at that time in a foreign country, they didn't give credit to like that American style, quote unquote. Now here, Devin Haney held the center of the ring. He was doing little circles, and he took away basically what George was trying to do. The overhand right and the left hook. So basically, okay, you have it where Kambosos probably had a shot because you don't actually have to be like a better boxer. Some of the times, I'm not saying that most, but when some punches, when a motherfucker's like a sucker for an overhand right, you can catch and you can probably beat that dude because that's your best opportunity. But Haney took away that overhand right and he took away the left hook. So that tells you about the presence of mind that he has while doing these small circles in the center of the ring, where the judges are not gonna have the leeway where he's making like the big circles and you can fucking put it. You could connotate it or say, oh, he's fucking running. Now, I thought that George Kambosos fought the wrong fight because he was sort of like flat-footed in the sense that he was exchanging punches against a guy that's more fleet-footed when it comes to stepping too. And when Haney was stepping back, like I said, he was missing with those two punches that he took away from him. Now, did I kind of like underestimate George Kambosos in this? That I overappreciate in the sense that I thought he was more like a pressure fighter, where sometimes, oh yeah, if you make it ugly, like Jeff Horn did against Pacquiao, especially in Australia, that's what I thought. Man, they're going to give it to you. They're going to fucking rob you. But yeah, I guess that Kambosos was never that pressure fighter because, yeah, the jab. There's ways to get past the jab. When that hand collapses, take two to land once, flip the jab, fucking go in, close the distance like Salido did against Lomachenko. And like Mikey Garcia did against Errol Spence, maybe the safest place is inside that dude's chest, where you're not, if ultimately you're sticking on the mid-range to the outside, you're going to get popped at the end of that punch. So yeah, you might take a few jabs to get inside, but if you can like, if you can keep that position to where you're like remaining on the inside, and I know it's easier said than done because Haney's like a master boxer, master of the distance. He's fleet-footed. He keeps rearranging the feet to where he's not necessarily a very strong fighter, but he is a very athletic fighter. So I think that Haney he fought the right game plan, and Kambosos looked out of his element. It was very difficult for him to ever get anything going. He pretty much relied, and I don't know what Kambosos' father was thinking. Oh, all of a sudden we're gonna be like these power punchers, and we're just gonna go like. Try to catch this dude on the counters because maybe we can't swim with this because he's like more skilled. But at the same time, just make it rough and rugged like Orlando Salido, like even Jeff Horn. Now, although I don't really like, I don't give a lot of credit to like that dirty style of boxing. But if you could have made that, you might have like been more competitive. Like when Haney took that round off in the 12th and you were coming forward, you cannot say that was in the fucking Kambosos round. Whether it was Hook or Bracurco, I thought, okay, maybe they give it a fucking Kambosos. Because usually I get them right, but it's not about me. And I'm not saying that was going to be right anyhow. But what I'm saying is Devin Haney fought the right game plan. He stuck to the game plan. Are we going to see this guy? He didn't run away. Well, that's one thing. Did he tie up? But sometimes that's a consequence of two dudes collapsing the pocket to where one guy's grabbing. And you saw that when Kambosos grabbed and it was trying to like sucker punch, and I think right around like the 10th round, that was all Kambosos. When two guys are collapsing in the pocket and they're tying each other up, sometimes it's hard to blame or pin who's the one that is actually doing the holding. Because you're collapsing the pocket, and obviously you don't want to land in the position where you're going to get fucking hit with the punch on the inside. So I don't know who initiated. Really, it's hard to tell. I think he fought an intelligent fight, and he stuck to the game plan. Was it boring? Well, what can I say? At least he didn't fucking run around the ring like Pernell Whitaker did against Ramirez when they took it out of his hands and the judges had it for Ramirez. That's basically it.
Well said. Look, here's my thought on the fight. I made this very clear. I thought Haney put on a great performance. I think it was the best performance of Haney's career. Now we have to kind of look at it like is that because he rose to the occasion, or is that because JoJo is a better fighter than Kambosos? Right?
Well said.
We're not gonna know unless JoJo and Kambosos fight each other. You know what I mean? Like that. That's the thing. Like Kambosos was the guy that was edging out decisions before he fought Teofimo, right? And I will say this: a lot of Teofimo, or not just Teofimo fans, just boxing fans, they didn't want to acknowledge that maybe Teo wasn't the same in that fight because no one wants to make excuses, right? But I think objectively you can argue that Teofimo wasn't the same in that fight. You can make that argument. You know what I mean? In my opinion, Gonzalo, you want to say something?
Well, I think the styles make fights, and I get you,
True.
D. I get you, but because sometimes they'll say, "Oh, well, Teo beat Teo that night." With all due respect, no, Kambosos beat Teo, but Kambosos was looking a little bit more fiery, aka fucking more combination Kambosos. Right here, he was like the game plan against like a slicker fighter. I would think it was a lack of experience on Kambosos' father's part, and I do get it. There's a lot of room to speculate that Teofimo Lopez wasn't like the same, dude. But when he caught fucking Kambosos in the 10th round and Kambosos scraped himself off the canvas, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, nobody's gonna be 100% and always gonna come like at their best, and maybe that just comes with the inexperience. And that's something that's part of the package that comes with the whole Teofimo Lopez thing. Same with Ryan Garcia. While some other fighters, maybe I don't bring this to the table, but let me get I'm always going to have my P's and my Q's aligned when I'm stepping in. So maybe Kambosos is that guy, right? And I'm correct. And Teofimo Lopez is that guy that's part of the package. We know with the drama that he brings.
Right, for sure.
But I think also Kambosos got caught up too much of the media hype and being the center of the attention. Keep in mind, Kambosos trains out of Davies, Florida, Javier Centeno. And when he was out here, for the Teofimo fight, he was spot on. He didn't get canceled once, twice, 3 times. I mean, the cancellations of the fights can actually drain you. And he did not do that to Kambosos. To the contrary, I think it benefited him. But now being at the center of the stage, right, being the almost, they call it undisputed. I don't get it, but over there, they're undisputed, and the media presses and everything like that. I just that plus not making weight and had to lose. You got 2 hours to lose some of those pounds. I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff that we didn't see from him before. I'm not trying to say that Kambosos is all that, but I think he could have performed a little bit better and give.
So look, we're gonna touch on George Kambosos for sure. Let me just say this really quick. So, look. Obviously, Devin Haney had a great game plan. It worked. He won. He gets all the credit in the world. He's the undisputed lightweight champion. I thought he had a great performance, right? My only point, I'm just going to address this one more time to Haplotype in the chat. You're getting angry because somebody called the fight boring. That's an opinion, bro. If somebody finds it boring, they find it boring. Like you're demanding, and all I said was you have to live with that. Then you're demanding for a link, and that's not how I run my shows, and you know that. I've been on here for 10 years. I've never ran shows that way. There's other platforms that do that. I don't do that. So just quit the capping, brother. That's not what I do. It's an opinion. Well, what am I going to do? Let you on here so you can start screaming about I wasn't boring, and you're going to give us your opinion, and you're entitled to it. You're welcome to have that opinion. No one's wrong if they say they love the fight. No one's wrong if they say they didn't like the fight. It's an opinion. That's all it is.
It's like saying who's going to win a fight, right? It's like a percentage. It goes back to that. Like, what percentage of that fight was exciting? Ask yourself, how much excitement did we get in 12 rounds? How competitive was it? Because for me, at a certain point, Devin just took over. His jab was overwhelming. Kambosos didn't have an answer. And so to say that it was boring, I understand that you don't like it, the derogatoriness that comes, or I don't even know if that's a word, but it sounds derogatory. That's what it, that's how people interpret it. But that's not what it's saying. Nobody's here saying that Devin's an ultimately boring guy or he's Rigondeaux or anything like that. What I think, at least what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Devin showed up to win, D. Devin showed
did.
up to win, just like what Donaire saying that he showed up the first time and he tried to kill him, but now he's going to try to show up to win. That's what he showed up to do. He showed up to win the fight. He knew everything that was on the line. And by the way, he has to beat this guy twice. Understand what the mentality does to you as a fighter when you have to do that.
Let me say one thing too, bro. I think happened. A lot of people, man, we're talking about fucking anticipation because we were anticipating fucking filet mignons, bro, and they tossed us a cheeseburger. Cheeseburgers aren't bad too, believe me. But bro, this isn't the $49.95 filet mignon, and that's what they were tempting us with for the last.
Look,
yeah.
Obviously, the fact that it was one-sided could take away from some of the excitement.
Exactly.
And strategically, the right things Haney was doing was nullifying the action, right? That's all I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, you don't need to link it to come on here and rant about why you thought. Like, you could type it down. Okay? How about that?
It's like, for example, this is what I'm thinking. Maybe I've been watching boxing for a little bit more or way too long than like some of these younger cats. I'm not saying that you guys, because we're pretty much like right around the same age. Look, man. Okay, there's a special place for boxing in my heart. But let me say something. Do I favor like the pressure fighter? Yeah, I like an exciting fight. I cannot take anything away from Devin Haney's skills. Am I necessarily saying that because I respect his skills that I'm not gonna tell you the truth and saying that the fight was not exciting, because it wasn't. But I can separate those two things. I'm not gonna say, well, I'm not gonna like discount the level of ability he has just because I didn't think it was the most friendly fight either. Because we're about to watch Donaire versus Inoue, and think what you will. It's not in the United States. One guy past his prime. Those two dudes are power punchers. They're highly skilled. Donaire all-time great, and probably Inoue as well, rising up in the divisions. That's going to be a fucking banger because it did in 2019. Now, moving forward, it's kind of like I think that, okay, yeah, Devin Haney got skills, and he's still going to sell. You guys, don't get your fucking your panties in a bunch. Like haplotype A, I've talked to you before. Don't get your fucking ruffles feathered too much, because you're going to have like a case of like the hunter versus the hunted. And if you don't necessarily, if you want to shit on fucking David Styles' fucking style, which I'm not the one doing that, you got the hunter versus the hunted, and you're always going to want to see that dude get knocked out against a bigger puncher. Against a bigger puncher that's chasing him. And if you want to put in there like a Hispanic dude just to make it entertaining, where we're going to have like the whole tribalistic thing, because that thing really dominates the fucking YouTube waves. And don't tell me that it doesn't. I'm not the one to share those sentiments exactly, because I can make them separations. Hey, but at the end of the day, I'm just one guy just calling it as it is. While everybody else, I'm just sitting back and watching. No, I told you, Devin Haney did a good job. Now, yeah, and obviously, this is fucking God. We want to see more entertaining. Put a pressure fighter. And if Devin Haney can do the whole Mayweather thing, where he's staying like away and winning, maybe more against fighters in their prime now, because Mayweather, it might have been like a little bit of a different story, but that's a topic or a subject for another day. No, Haney, good job, man.
That's
but,
but
and
that's
really
not
quick,
who Devin is. I'm
gonna let you go right now, Mario. But
Go
let
ahead.
me just say this: we don't do callers on the show. A caller means whether it's a phone call or whether it's a link drop. You don't get to just come in and like rant and then leave. If you want to do a show, Haplo, next week you come on the whole damn show and talk about all the fights. How about that? And
How
we'll
about
do
super
that.
chat? Your main point for now. How about that?
And then we'll make this one of the topics if you want, but you got to talk about other shit too and commit to the show. How about it? Because that's how I do shit.
And talk
okay?
And you get a lot. And by the way, you get a lot of words in the super chat when you go up to like $10, $20. And I'm not trying to.
No, he don't have to.
I'm just saying.
He don't have to.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I don't have control of that. All I'm saying is, if you want to make a point, like here's the thing. If I wanted to make a point about my favorite fighter, let's say Chocolatito, and I wanted to tell y'all why I think he's still top 10 pound for pound, I could do it in 50 words for sure. I'm not saying that you couldn't beat my argument. All I'm saying is I could make that point. If you can't make your point within those, it's like you're trying to twist the narrative to make it seem like it wasn't what the fight was. It was. Nobody's saying it's Devin's fault. Nobody's saying it's Kambosos' fault. It was a style matchup that did not work. And here's another point. Y'all made this point already. I'm just going to put it into different terms. who's to say that what happened to Andy Ruiz didn't happen to Kambosos? Because those lights were fucking bright. Yo, he was on Joe Rogan. He had millions of people watching him. Kambosos stayed in the U.S. for what, like half a year doing
Miami
media?
Heat
Like, I don't
games
even,
and
bro,
all that
he
shit.
was on it. Like, he was there. He believed the hype. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have. I'm just saying that guy that showed up on Saturday wasn't ready to live and die in the ring. And I don't mean that literally, but, you know, throw it all on the line.
You're
You know
right,
what he
you're right.
fought like? You want me to tell you what he fought like? He fought like a team that was up 3-2 in game 6, knowing he had another shot. That's how he fought. He fought like he knew this guy was going to have to come back to Australia and have to beat him all over again. And by the way, like that fight is going to sell. Not because it's a good fight. If it was in Vegas, it probably wouldn't do shit. If it was in New York, it probably wouldn't do shit. The fact that he's going back to Australia, those fans are going to buy it up. They're going to eat it up. So
Here's
that's
what
the
we'll do.
problem.
Like, look, next week I'll have one of the topics will be what makes a fight exciting, and then Haplo could come on. You know what I mean? He could be on for an hour and a
Sounds
half
fair.
or so, and then
Sounds
we'll
like
go from there.
like something that most people would not do. By the way, giving that up, given that
Haplo
opportunity.
will do it. Haplo will do it.
No.
You know what I mean?
I'm saying that most hosts wouldn't allow the opportunity for in my opinion, a losing argument because it's just
like nobody. I'm gonna say one more thing. We're gonna move on. You have a wrench on my channel. You could type down whatever you want. No one's censoring what you're saying. You just want to come on and say it verbally. That's what it is. You didn't like something. Someone said that the fight was boring. And you got mad about it, brother. That's what happened. All I'm saying is you were entitled to your opinion. If you thought it was exciting, you're entitled to it. You have every right to feel that way. But if somebody feels it was boring, they feel it was boring. Like, well, what do you want me to do? I can't force somebody. I can't put toothpicks in their eyes and force them to watch the whole thing.
It's not an exciting fight. It's just reality. That's what it is.
I'm sorry, I can't do it. Like, you coming on and yelling at them isn't going to make it better. Isn't going to make people watch it. I'm sorry. Now, speaking of Kambosos, we're going to go around again. Mario, we're going to bounce it back to you, brother. Is Kambosos a one-hit wonder? Will he ever be lightweight champion or any type of world champion ever again? Shit, I'll even give you the regular belt. Will he ever be even a regular champion?
Absolutely. 100%. Kambosos has talent. He does. Okay. Devin Haney, and you know, all respect to Calix, you know, he said he doesn't see a premier fighter in this or generational talent is what he said. And he could be right, but I don't look, I think that guys like Teo and Devin still have plenty of opportunity to show us otherwise. You know, Teo with that one loss, like, and a lot of that was on him. He built that narrative to where he was against himself almost. You know, somebody said, I think it was Manny earlier, it was like Teo versus Teo. Look, I don't care about that. But with Kambosos, he's exciting, or he can be exciting. He can be fun. And by the way, he's got the power to at least neutralize opponents within 12 rounds. I'm not saying he can starch anybody. I'm not saying he's got, you know, one and done power. I'm just saying he has the kind of power to neutralize other guys that have better skill. So, you know, you're talking about a fighter who I think is never going to probably be top 10 in the world ever. This was his best chance if you put him on there beating Teo, who beat Lomachenko. But ultimately, what you do have with Kambosos is a guy who can talk the talk. He can be exciting in the ring. And there are plenty of guys right now with belts, and I'm talking like, you know, divisionally, that aren't as good as Kambosos skill-wise, honestly. Like, guys get belts all the time. So I do think Kambosos has a chance, mainly for one more reason I'll make. He draws. And I know that doesn't mean anything as far as skill in the ring, but you know what that does mean? It means that people are going to be willing to give him more of an opportunity. He's going to get more of those opportunities. And at some point, I think he does beat somebody. Do I think he beats Devin Haney in the rematch? No. Do I think he beats Teo in a rematch? Probably not, honestly. I think Teo has the ability to come back stronger in a more closer version than what we saw. So does Kambosos, but that's an even fight to me. I think that's a fight we need to see at some point. And Lomachenko, I don't think he beats Lomachenko either. So ultimately, we just have a guy who's just not as good as some of the best fighters in the world.
Yeah. Habro's on some shit, bro. Yo, but Gonzalo, is he a one-hit wonder in your opinion? Will he ever be world champion again?
Well, I was kind of like, good thing that I was listening to what Mario was saying right now, but because I'm gonna kind of like dial it back, but in the sense, I kind of get okay. Look, he's from Australia. Okay, let me start off by saying when he fought Teofimo Lopez, Teofimo's he's a counter puncher, but Teofimo Lopez is a catch and shoot. But when he fought Kambosos, said I'm gonna get the knockout in the first round. Teofimo Lopez was kind of like collapsing the pocket. He was kind of like chasing after this dude, and when he got dropped in the fight and the going got tough, I'm not necessarily saying that Kambosos is a pressure fighter, because he isn't, but I think if he could incorporate that into his skill set, because before the Teofimo Lopez fight, I thought this dude was kind of like weak, wearing the fucking high platform Skechers shoes. It turns out that he's actually 5'9", talking out all that shit on the side of his neck that maybe his ass can't fucking catch. And all of a sudden, no, he fucking delivered. Now he fell short with the whole fucking I am Spartacus type of attitude. But I'm not saying that he's necessarily weak, but he proved to be tough. Can he punch higher than what the 50 KO ratio will kind of like indicate? No, he was catching Haney with some good punches. But in the end of the day, just by trying to be a type of like a sit back boxer puncher against maybe the elite level guys like Devin Haney that are more skillful than you, and make no mistake, maybe even Teo would make corrections along that style where you're not going to be like that reckless. That no, maybe Kambosos is out of his element because he needs to incorporate a little bit more of that with that natural because the moniker, the ferocious, indicates that he's got the dog in him, but he's got to be more like an Orlando Salido, fucking even like fuck it, Jeff Horn, make it dirty, throw a little bit of that into where you're making it rough. I'm not saying don't incorporate it and put your skills behind it. But it's not always going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm landing cleanly. But make it fucking rough. And you're going to stay competitive because a lot of the times it comes down to fucking will. It's not always skills pay the bills, especially if you don't hit that hard. But you can crack every now and then. Yeah, fucking have like that meanness, that fucking ferociousness, as your name would fucking indicate. But not just like trying to like 1 and 2s. No, step 2 and make more aggressive. Come forward and apply the pressure, and you can be successful, entertaining. Are you gonna win some and lose some others? Yeah, probably. But I'm saying, is he a one-hit wonder? No. He did something against a tough, more physical guy than Haney and George Kambosos. He can deal with the physicality, so why not incorporate the Mexican style to your game? Now, Manny Pacquiao, he sparred 250 rounds. Manny Pacquiao is an ambush fighter that's collapsed in the pocket. And he provides you the opportunity to like kind of work on your game and exchange the shots like with bigger gloves, obviously in sparring. That now all of a sudden you got yourself believing in yourself that yeah, you are that tough. But now you're not facing the Manny Pacquiao. That was like a rarity ambush. That's not fucking Mexican. Now you got to take not only the center, but you got to step to your opponent by bounding forward 1 or 2 times, chasing the other dude down. If you can do that, George Kambosos is gonna have more success, in my opinion.
Well said, brother. Well said. Shout out to Gonzalo. By the way, just really quick, the poll, Inoue, 71% of you voted that Inoue would win. 28% have Donaire pulling the upset out of 83 votes. So shout out to you guys. Thank you for voting. Right now, we have another poll. Was Haney versus Kambosos a barn burner? You know what I mean?
And I want to can we say it like this real quick, because I know Haplo, he's a knowledgeable boxing fan. Let's put it like this, right? But when you answer this poll, if Charlo Castaño won is a 5 type of fight, right? If we all agree that was one of the best fights of the year, awesome fight. If that's a 5, then and 1 out of 5, where did this fight land? Like, where is this fight? Because if we're going to compare and contrast what a great fight is, then we know what a great fight looks like. And this fight did not look anything like a Castano-Charlo fight at all. Right. So,
and by the way, if the argument is like, let me just say this: if someone is just saying, Haney's boring, and I don't want to see him fight no more, or whatever it is, right?
That's bullshit.
Okay, then that person's hating, but like nobody said. They said the fight was uneventful. The fight was, and a lot of that when fights become one-sided, they become uneventful. Like just, that's what happens. But nobody's going to be nominating this fight for Fight of the Year. I can promise you that right now. Okay.
Not even top 20.
Bruce Goss is Kambosos a one-hit wonder, brother? You're muted. You're muted, brother.
Once now I know I had my mouse on my screen down here, and I'm up to these styles. I'm smoking some fucking sour diesel now. It's making this enjoyable round table even more enjoyable, and I'm fucking having a good time, bro. And all right, man.
We all have the vicio. We have
George
something.
Kambosos, bro. I got my humidor here, bro. I go in here, see what's available. It's like my little wine cellar. You know, we got a few different strands in there, and I just got this little sealer meal last week, bro. Nice. I got this little butt of sour diesel in there. And from what they tell me, that's going to be just as good as in 3 years from now as the day I put it in there. So we'll see. But anyway, man, George Kambosos, ferocious George Kambosos. I don't know, bro. I think you mentioned there's an old thing boxers used to call that, bro. Marvin Hagler used to have a phrase for that. He called that silk sheets, and bro, and that's a reality. I've seen that myself throughout the years, countless times, bro. You get that title, and some fighters get better. Other fighters, they relish in the spotlight. They're rock stars. They go to the clubs. They're getting the tables. They're getting the bottles. They're getting the girls. And man, that's you want to do that, or you want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and hit the road. You want to spend 4 or 5 hours in the gym before you have your breakfast, man. This is what boxers do. This is what champions do. And man, you get a taste of that sweet life, especially when you're home in Australia. Australia's been craving for a champion, man. And Kambosos, he was the president of Australia for a little while. And Devin Haney, he came in there and he knew what he had to do. He knew he was the better boxer, and he won that fight handily. A lot of people didn't think it was going to happen. The whole country had faith in Kambosos, and I talked to a lot of Australians. They come in and see me when I do my lives, and they're telling me what a great guy he is, how he even reached out and contacted to one of the brothers whose daughter was born prematurely. And he had people behind him, and they were believing it. But man, he fought that one good fight, and then he was thrust into the spotlight. And I don't think he can go anywhere. But I don't think he can become anything but a name opponent right now. The rematch, that's going to be a buyout right there, bro. That's not going to happen. And I don't think Australia's going to buy that. I don't care what you say. I just don't think that's saleable right now, and Aram knows that. Aram's a businessman, he'll give Kambosos some fights, but I think there's just too much talent out there right now, and Devin Haney has the opportunity to fight Tank, which to me is the only fight available. Lomachenko, I don't even know if he knows what's going on in this fight, bro. He's in the war. People say, oh, he's not on the front lines. Bullshit, bro. We know what's going on in that country. You see the president running around with a T-shirt and fatigues on. Shit, what do you think? Lomachenko's got, really, man. You got to look at this at boxing for what it is and war for what it is. And Lomachenko, he's not going to be a factor in the immediate future right now, from what I can see. So I think Tank and Haney is the fight that we all want to see right now. Let the other contenders mix it up. Let Kambosos go out there and make some money and see if he's got see if we want to see him again. See if he can possibly get a warranted rematch, or even fight Tank if Tank beats him. There's so many good fights to be made, but Kambosos, I think he has to he has to get real once again and get hard again. Whatever. And like I said, I think the best Kambosos we saw was against a compromised Lopez. So that's what I see for Teofimo, man.
Yeah. Can I mention something real quick to Bruce Coles? Yeah, he might be a nice guy, but the way he was coming across in the second fight to sell the fight, man. And the first fight against
he sold the fight, sure, bro.
Yeah, he sold it.
Yeah, but he sold the sizzle, man. He didn't sell the steak. We all bought the sizzle, Then we went and we
Yeah,
got a
no.
fucking
I bought the steak in the second fight because the sizzle worked out for me. Where I bought the steak in the first fight when we beat Teofimo, but he told me the sizzle in the second fight that I bought the steak, but he fell short. Now, if you were if we were to brought some of that,
Bro, I was anticipating the biggest lightweight fight of our lifetime, of my lifetime. Bro, I saw Duran and Buchanan.
Yeah.
I saw freaking
Me too.
Ishmael Laguna. I saw Pernell Whitaker, and bro, Jose Luis Ramirez. I thought this was going to be the most important fight because it's a four belt unification, and it may go down as an important fight, but as far as an action fight goes, because we're boxing fans and we like knockouts. And everybody presumed that Devin Haney would have to show some offensive power to get the decision. But Teofimo didn't show any offensive power to warrant that. All he had to do was walk him down, manhandle him, show some boxing skills. And it was to the average Joe, it was a boring fight. It wasn't worth. I guess it was ESPN, so it wasn't pay-per-view. But
the good thing that we have.
Calm down there. You're gonna get somebody mad in the chat. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
I gotta pay ESPN.
Look. Everybody been thinking que soy un borracho, that I drink. Look, I've been drinking H2O tonight. There's nothing but water tonight. Okay,
H2O here, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. This is basically water.
It's water.
Right? But hey, really quick before I go to Manny, you have something to say, Gonzalo?
No. Well, he sold us the fight, but did he not fucking underwhelm in this fight to where we were gonna get the ferocious?
He never sold out. He never went for it. Like
he sold it, but he didn't show up to the fight.
Fought like a guy who was going to get another chance,
and he was the center of the stage, and he didn't show up. That's
Very
it.
well said.
That's what he should have done, right?
Right.
Gone under the shield.
And he also does have the driver's reins in this fight because he controls the rematch clause. So nobody does anything until that's straightened out, bro.
Yeah, but nobody wants to hear about that.
That's the business of boxing. That's what it is.
Yeah, I know, sir.
That's fucking signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah. Hey, Manny, talk to us, brother. What you think of do you think I was about to ask you anyway? My bad. Do you think Kambosos is a one-hit wonder? Will you ever be a world champ? Will you ever hold a belt over his head again?
I see it very difficult. As much as I like Kambosos, as much as I like what's happening around their stable, one of the best manager of the year a couple of years ago, Peter Khan, all the talented pool. They're pushing the Puerto Rican boxing community into a different level. And this is exciting for Puerto Rican boxing, right? Kambosos is not Puerto Rican, but he's part of that. And, even Sander Sayas had an opportunity to be in training camp with them, sparring with them, helping them and learning, right? That's what Kambosos does. He pays it forward. He also has the mean face and he plays it well as well. I mean, just to think about him and his family enjoy the kids, the wife, they enjoy this transition road. Coming in from nowhere and being that someone, being that the face of Australia for the last few years, beating the guy that it was considered top 3 pound for pound at one particular time, Teofimo Lopez, whether it was a compromise, whatever it was, it doesn't matter. Kambosos had that ferociousness that Gonzalo was talking about to coming into a fight as an underdog, right? Then he comes into this fight maybe not as way underdog, but as one of the potentials to actually beat Haney, as someone that it's been talked about a lot. And that's why you have some of these hate and love relationships going on, that you got the Haney followers, the Haney bullish, which they don't admit or they don't want to know the fact that Haney might be his style is not as entertaining. I don't want to say boring, because I don't want to put anyone in the chat down, but it's not as entertaining probably as some other boxers. I wish Haney would turn that way, right? And because he's got a lot of potential and he can beat a lot of people with his style, but it may not draw a lot of people's attention, because ultimately people want to see excitement, people want to see fights, people want to see a Gallo Estrada and Chocolatito Román. People want to see what we're going to witness tomorrow. People want to see Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. Like my whole body's out, my wrist, I'm hurt, but I'm still banging and throwing punches. That's what people want to remember. People will never remember.
Hey,
probably the spot
let
in
me
5
tell you
years.
something that fits right into this, bro. I'm getting a new couch delivered tomorrow, so I have to clean out the old, I just, take the cushions off and shit. And I haven't gotten a new couch in, let's say, about 40 years. So anyway, man, I found this between the cushions. Talk about a lightweight, an anticipated rematch.
Wow.
Let me see if I can get that a little bit better here, man. I can move the screen a little bit.
Yeah, De La Hoya and
Yeah, that was at 154, the rematch.
yeah,
Yeah,
154 at Mosley.
That's crazy.
Mostly too,
By the
man.
way, Deloya won that fight. Like,
But can you imagine if they fought at lightweights, man?
oh
That
wow.
would
Yeah.
that would have been an occasional fight. But talking about rematches and this and that, and my eye just caught that, and I said, shit, let me just show that to the
Hey, that's crazy. You found
family
that,
out there, bro.
Bruce. Because when my grandfather died, he sold a lot of property and he buried everything inside of the couch or inside of the mattress. When he died, my grandma sold the mattress. And then,
You're not gonna find anything in these couches, Maybe a few pills from the old
No,
days.
but I wonder what
Maybe
he's
a hit of
saying.
acid in the 70s in the corner.
So what happened with his couch?
What happened with it? They're coming down tomorrow morning at 7:30 to take this one out, put a new one in. I have to just clean it off. I'm putting a new rug on.
No,
It's
but
crazy. The rug had to go first. The couch had to go up and back and forth and blah 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 blah. And
yeah, I got you. No, I want to know about Gonzalo's grandfather's couch.
oh, I'm sorry. I
Well,
thought you were talking to me.
he sold it to we had like this is not a pure Indian like short dude. They used to go help in the ranch down in Tijuana, like up in the Ejido, where now it's like really populated because they built like a power plant. But back in the early 80s and early 90s, there was nothing out there. So my grandfather bought a lot of property. He used to have like this helper. When my grandfather died, my grandma gave the couch to the helper, but it came to, I don't know, like my mother told me, what did you do with the old couch that the helper denied? But it comes later, for some reason or another, my mother and my grandmother understood that my grandfather had buried a lot of money inside of there. I forget it's not the moral of the story, but like the actual facts. But then like the helper denied it. I never found anything. What did you do with the couch? He denied it till now. But then when my grandfather sold a lot of pieces of the property, in the end of the day, he owns a lot of the ranch. But my grandfather got a lot of money, but he put it inside of that mattress.
Oh man.
My grandmother gave that mattress away, and that dude got the money.
Mattress.
Story.
Oh man. Kind of messed up. He kept the money because he got a free mattress. What are you gonna do? Hey, I have one more topic for you guys before I close this one out.
Just to answer your question,
Sure.
I just don't see him right now. Having another opportunity. I do see him probably fighting some of the other guys. I mean, go out there after Jojo Dia. That's a fight. I mean, everyone wanted Kambosos. Now, let's see who wants Kambosos now, right? You even got Rolly Romero. That's a pretty good fight. Come out there. Why not Isaac Cruz? So Kambosos still gonna have some great fights. And it'll be his opportunity only to make the best out of it to see if he can actually contend for a future title. But the chances are going to be very slim.
Well, and timing is everything because you got dangerous dudes, and you're probably going to be like, oh, who the fuck is Rayo Valenzuela? That dude's fucking dangerous. That dude can crack. And if we want to see the hunter versus the hunted, fucking don't tell me that Rayo Valenzuela, these dudes are going to be scared of that punching power. Oh, no, we're that much better. No, Haney is still at the same age as Rayo. They're not all of a sudden, we cannot pit them as like the all end all be all fucking veterans on that pedestal that you're going to deny these other guys. They're basically around the same age or younger, a little bit, slightly. Rayo Valenzuela, 24, 23. Haney? Yeah, he's on top of the world. Give these dudes the fucking chance. They're the ones that can crack. And if you don't do that, I'm going to start calling you out as you're fucking ducking. Just like you guys or other people. You know what I mean? You're fucking ducking, Well, fucking fight Rayo Valenzuela. Right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I have one more question for you guys, and we'll start with Manny here. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, they continue to throw shade at each other on Twitter. Ryan tweets him out during the fight, hey, you're watching this fight? We should make sure that our fight's not this boring. Pretty much what he said. Tank Davis told him to shut the fuck up, and then Ryan Ryan said, "Oh, I'll remember this disrespect or something like that." I'm paraphrasing, but will Ryan Garcia Tank Davis happen anytime soon, Manny? In your opinion?
I hope so, but I don't see it happening. They're the Twitter kings. They're always talking shit and trash. Ryan Garcia disappeared for a year or so. And by the way, great job. I mean, he recovered for something that's very difficult, mental health. I can, I got to be behind someone supporting them when you take an opportunity to say, I got to step back for whatever reason. And the only person from the four kings, which they're not four kings, but the four king divas, as we used to call it in our show, the only person that's fought move up to 140, fought Barrios, fought Leo, just fought, Raleigh. It's Tank Davis. The rest of them, all right, we did see Ryan Garcia coming back against Emmanuel Tago. Now he's got another fight scheduled right now. So let's see. I hope so. I hope they fight soon. But I think that De La Hoya might be protecting him too much, and he may not want any of that smoke. So it's time. It's time to get all these guys involved somehow. They're not ever going to do a tournament, but we need to see. Now everyone, of course, wants Haney. You got to do the line. But the reality is if we want to see break that line and go somewhere else besides the undisputed champion, that will be a fantastic fight. Even if it happens 2023, I would love it.
Okay, all right. Bruce Goss, are these guys going to fight each other, or are they going to keep? Are they going to keep going at it on Twitter?
What's that? In your chat room there, bro?
No, I'm talking about Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis.
Bro, Ryan Garcia, everybody makes so much fun of this poor guy. I mean, Ryan, bro, all he has to do is fight people. He'll shut everybody up. Just fight. Ryan's been fighting his whole life, man. I don't judge anybody, especially a boxer. And him and Tank, that would be an ideal fight. Fighting on Twitter, bro. I'm reading the chat, and the cats they're mentioning in the chat. Can you imagine them fighting on Twitter? Even if they said something and got back to the other fighter in the newspaper, that fight would be made. A Twitter war. That's insane. That's this cyber age that we live in. Boxers should get together. Of course, man. If Haney has to fight a rematch, or damn it, if it goes into, remember that the trouble we had at the heavyweight rematch not long ago,
Yep.
Bro. I mean, if that happens, Tank and Ryan, perfect. Because we forget we forget who the champ is. If Tank and Ryan fight and that WBA Reggie belt gets some pop, and PBC plastered that belt all over their promos, bro. Everybody will look at the winner of that fight as the star of the lightweights until Haney does something, and then. This is exciting. This, instead of bogging the lightweight division, they should perk it up. And Ryan doesn't have anybody tying him down. Tank supposedly a free bird. Bang. And nothing makes more sense, but because it makes so much sense, it'll probably not happen.
Let me ask you this, and I'm not suggesting you're old by asking this, but what was the Twitter or social media back in the day? Like, what was it the magazines? Like, what was it?
Yeah, it was a fighter would stage his own press conference if they were like a fighter like Ali or Joe Frazier or somebody of that magnitude. But otherwise, it would be the responsibility of Don King to create some heat like that, and he'd always have a place at ringside for the ABC's Wide World of Sports or CBS, and those were on every weekend, and every boxing fan watched every one of those fights. And boxing fans, it wasn't just you; it was your mother that was washing dishes behind you, and your dad that was running back and forth. Sugar Ray Leonard's fighting; they all sat down. So these feuds could be made simply. And a boxer's a number one thing. A boxer's an alpha male. You're not gonna call a boxer a pussy. You're not gonna give him a challenge to his face. And an alpha male is not gonna put up with that. And that's how fights were made. I don't know if it's a different generation now. It is a different generation now. But fighters shouldn't be different. They should fucking talk. If they're gonna talk the talk, walk the walk.
All right. Hey, Gonzalo, thanks for coming on, brother. So, what do you think about Tank and Ryan? Are they going to fight each other? Or are they going to keep doing this on Twitter, like just going at
I
it
mean,
like this?
I mean, they should because they got a lot of skills that can rival what Devin Haney brings to the table. I wouldn't necessarily call Ryan poor because I mean the dude's got it all, man. Aside from being like from fucking Barstow or Victorville, because I used to live there. I was in the military. That place is like no man's land. But other than that, the dude's probably not living there now. That dude's got money. He's got good looks. He's at the top of the fucking the Instagram world, not necessarily the boxing because that's a fucking tough road to climb. Now, it's not the same. If you can do that in boxing, oh wow, my hats off to you. He certainly got the skills, but he's kind of like meshing and bringing the two worlds together. Instagram or boxing. Oh, we actual like boxing fans can fucking like tell the difference. You do have the skills, but then you have to prove it not just by calling out the likes of Manny Pacquiao, all the others boxers that you took this hiatus. Then now that you came back and you fought Emmanuel to go, but there's just a lot of questions to be asked about your character. Now against Devin Haney, yeah, you fought that dude like about 6 or 7 times in the amateurs. You won a half of those fights that you could compete against that dude, but against Tank Davis, you got dropped against a Luke Campbell. That if he can set a trap to you like he did against Rolly Romero, that when he's stepping in, he's fucking taking your chin. He can fucking knock you out. But that lead fucking powerful left hook that Ryan Garcia is gonna be hard for Tank Davis to get on the inside. But if Davis can come on the inside, I see that as a 50-50 fight. Tank should fucking fight Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, like I said, he's really like known for calling people out and not taking the fights and taking like these hiatuses. Well, nowadays, but there's something there that we should fucking be like really worried about.
Hey, but Gonzalo, will Ryan fight Tank? You think he'll do it?
Well, but now you got Tank sending these tweets that are like on the YouTube saying, "Shut the fuck up." He's like being silenced by Leonard Ellerby when Tank's not even taking the tough fights himself. So we got two notorious, I wouldn't say like duckers, but two very confused individuals, whether it's by hook or by crook, whether it's by the promotional entities, where you got Ryan Garcia say, fuck Oscar De La Hoya. No, I think Oscar De La Hoya is willing to be, okay, Ryan, do this. But Leonard Ellerby, as far as like a professional fucking like presence, he's not fucking, it's very unclear. It's very shady. What can you say about Leonard Ellerby and fucking Tank Davis? Baby belts. Nothing clear. Yeah, we want to fight the big names, but if it's about like the biggest name, are we bigger than Ryan Garcia? No, because the Instagram followers, they kind of like flood into the fucking because nowadays it's all about fucking followers. It's getting a little diluted. I'm not saying that we purists don't, but at the same time, these two guys are not established. They're two novices with great boxing skills. Two are like the 4 fucking horsemen that are still like holding a name. Well, they're largely unproven, but at the same time, we cannot say this guy's better than the other. Stylistically, it's a 50-50 fight. Why not make it happen? Because of jostling. I think that I'm a bigger name than you are. No, Ryan Garcia brings a lot to the table as far as like the Instagram followers. And a little bit of the fucking, like I said, the boxing to where it's kind of like merging that we cannot discount the punching power and the lead left hook, the left hook to the body versus, or the right, left hook to the liver against Luke Campbell. That dude, if he keeps it consistent, Ryan Garcia is a force to be reckoned with. The same with Tank, setting up the fucking counters against Rolly when, Rolly didn't dominate anything. It was kind of like Barry Khan versus Canelo. He fucking fell into a trap, like I mentioned, versus Mikey Garcia. Dijon's la teaching him. Fucking come in, settle in, boom, I'm catching you. Tank Davis has got skills. Ryan Garcia's got skills. If you don't make it happen, when I think it's relatively about a 50-50 fight inside of the ring, because outside of the ring, fucking antics that are kind of like clouding and fucking holding the sport hostage. But at the same time, Devin Haney got all the belts. Why don't you want to do something about that in order for you to gain some ground and say, fucking Devin Haney, I'm here. I want them fucking belts. Right? That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. Hey, first of all, I want to thank the whole panel. I want to give a shout out to Calix. Subscribe to him at Calix 2.0 here on YouTube. Subscribe to Mario And I want to thank Manny in Vivo Marrero. Make sure you guys subscribe to Long Live Boxing here on YouTube. I support them 100%. I want to thank you for coming on, brother. Bruce Goss, thank you for coming on. Everybody subscribe to Bruce Goss. What's the name again? Jazz and More? Or what's
Yeah. Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. And let me tell you, tomorrow night at 7:00, I'm talking to Aaron Superman Davis. If anybody doesn't know who he is, bro, he knocked out Mark Beelan at 23. He fought Simon Brown. He fought Vinny Pazienza. He fought Buddy McGirt. He's going to be on my Tuesday night fights. Anybody wants to come down and check out something good, man. This man's a gem. He's going to talk about the way it was and the way it is today, because he's currently training boxers, and he's got some killers that he's going to talk about. So thanks for having me on, D Styles, bro. God bless you.
Absolutely, brother. Well, what you got going on, Manny, in Vivo Marrero? What's Long Live Boxing got going on?
Vivo, óyeme, puedes suscribirte a todas las redes sociales, Manny, Lonely Boxing en Vivo podcast, Facebook, also Instagram, YouTube as well. We got a show coming up Thursday. We're going to break it down right behind me. You know, it's a Puerto Rican weekend. That is correct. Puerto Rican parade. Out of the 9 fights, 8 Puerto Ricans will be fighting. Unfortunately, Sanya had to withdraw from that, but you got future champions. Top Rank knows what they're doing. Carlos Caraballo, Josué Valga, Orlando González, Omar Rosario, Frevian González, Cristina Cruz. She's the new and most up-and-coming Puerto Rican female star that are her pro debut. Fantastic. Co-main event, Henry Lebron, another featherweight prospect, and of course, Edgar Belanda. He'll be meeting Alex Angulo. We're going to break it down Thursday, and of course, Sunday, 11 in the morning. That's when we recap what happened through the weekend. Hope you guys enjoy the Inoue fight. Get up early, put your clocks on. Bailey's and coffee.
Yeah,
it's on.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to bed right now. Gonzalo is probably in the afternoon or like at a perfect time for him over there. But and first of all, tell us really quick who you think's going to win that fight. Inoue, Donaire, and then let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Interesting thing, I jumped on H Money right quick. Donaire was wearing the winnings where Rachel said that Donaire couldn't close the fist inside of the glove, and he still managed to break Inoue's cheekbone, the orbital bone. Now, when it comes down to like the whole all speculating about over there in the drama in Saitama, no, Inoue sees the gloves. Says, no, this fucking the left glove is not good. We need more gloves. That's where Rachel steps in. Okay, you want new gloves for Donaire. Now your fucking gloves. He changed them in the last minute. Inoue's walking, instead of winning, he's wearing the fucking Reyes. Inoue walking in with Reyes, and Donaire is having to switch gloves, but he's still keeping the everlasting lead. Man, dude, if in the first fight, fucking Donaire couldn't like close his fist because he was wearing the winnings, because they made him wear that glove. Now that he's locking his fist in, and his left hook really feels like really comfortable. I think the old man catches that dude, especially after breaking that dude's fucking cheekbone. And now all the courtesies is kind of like, well, let's be honest, we're still gentlemen. We're still gonna keep it fucking respectful. But like the courtesies in the sense that I'm gonna have to like bow down and hug you and fucking like just fucking overly congratulate you. No, that's gone out the window. And I asked Rachel, and she said that no, he told fucking Inoue's camp, no more fucking hugs, no more Devin Haney hugs. It's all about fucking I'm not hugging you. Yeah, I'm gonna shake your hand, but that's it. Now we got that fucking dog and the Filipino dude, and over there in the drama in Saitama, and it's all about I'm the old fucking veteran, and I got the fucking everlasting elites. Maybe that left hook, and it doesn't really have to be the left hook. It can be a straight left. It can be a harder punch than all. Dude, it's fucking crazy, dude. I don't know. I'm gonna pick it Inoue, dude. I'm always gonna root for the fucking old man. Yeah, whether I get it right or wrong, it's just whatever, man.
Old man club.
Inoue 10-round fucking TKO.
Yeah, you know what? That's the exact round I have too. I have a 10-round TKO. Hey, brother, everybody subscribe to Lopito's Boxing Den, Boxing here on YouTube. Hope to have you back on in the future. Well, brother, I'll hit you up I'll email you about Thursday too if you want to jump on.
Thank you, Dean.
All right, have a good one,
shout
brother.
out to Bruce Gas and all the panelists.
Absolutely. Oh, there you go, man. Hey, first of all, guys, I want everybody for jumping on, joining me. I'll put the link in the chat. Everybody go ahead and join the Shoe Shine. They're on live right now. go ahead and let everybody know D-Style sent you. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, I have 34 people. How about we all go over there? Let's all go to the shoe shine, press on the link in the chat, and let's just go over there. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm gonna go check it out right now. I'll take the rest on archive, but everybody make sure you click on the link that's in the chat. Right, it's in there right now. You're here right now. Go to the chat, click on the link, and let's go over there. Let's see what's going on. I don't know what's going on. All right. So this is D-Style Boxing. Let them know D-Style Boxing sent you. Keep it boxing. See you on Thursday here for the round table. I'm out. Peace.